There's no faster place to crash. It's side by side now. Philippi behind. Oh, that's Crew Halliday has tagged the back end of Aiden Wagner. Does touch. They touch on the main straight. Maxwell backs off. Wagner holds the lead. Wagner's going up the inside. Wagner's through. Wagner's done. They've touched. He's down. Maxwell is down. That's a big one. There is your round winner and race 3 winner, Aiden Wagner. A little bit of argy-bargy, as you can see here. There was 2 boys that would never back down. It's these 2 guys.
It is stop number 2 on the calendar for the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship, and we are ready to go racing from Wakefield Park in Goulburn, New South Wales. This track, 2.2 kilometres in length, has 10 turns. It's physical, it's technical, and it is known as the nation's spectator track. It is Troy Herfoss who holds that lap record with a 57.525. A big hello from Emma Francesco and Steve Martin. And Steve, last time out at Phillip Island, the racing was sensational. It really did have a bit of everything. And of course, it just shows for the Superbike class that this championship is very fierce.
Oh, absolutely, Emma. It was controversial. It was exciting. There were some big crashes. Thankfully, everyone was okay after that. So what a weekend it was at Phillip Island.
And it was a privateer who took home that round win, Aiden Wagner. Unfortunately for him, he had an off in practice earlier this weekend and he just had a DNF in race 1.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Aiden this time out. He qualified in 7th position. He crashed in practice, as you said, Emma. He injured his shoulder. He rode through the pain barrier in race 1. The team told him, pull in if you can't handle it. He had to pull in. I don't think we're going to see him on the grid for race 2 here today.
Well, a shout out to him. We hope that he's A-OK, of course. Unfortunately, he lost that first position for the championship points of 2019. Looking like this with Crew Halliday in the lead at 76. Aiden Wagner down to second with 71 points. And Troy Herfoss, he took the race win for race number 1. So he's moved up to 3rd position for those championship points, 66 points at the moment. Now, let's have a look at this track map, Steve, because you've been around here plenty of times. What do we need to know about this track? Obviously, very different to Phillip Island.
Yeah, Phillip Island is open and wide. This place is the exact opposite. It's short, it's tight, it's bumpy, it's technical, and it creates some of the closest racing you're going to see all year long. Loads of spectators here this weekend as well. Great place to watch from, and boy, it's on the line this time round.
Well, one guy who unfortunately isn't here this weekend, he had an off in practice at Phillip Island and also an off in race 1, Troy Bayliss. He caught up with our very own Phil Harlem a little bit earlier.
Well, Troy Bayliss, difficult first round for you and the Desmo Sport Ducati team at Phillip Island. Talk us through what happened.
Yeah, Phil, obviously I've been training hard to get ready for this year. I felt like we were in a good situation, but I was unlucky to come away from the round with, no race finishes and a decently broken finger on my right hand, which is my braking hand. It's been impossible to ride. Very lucky that we've got Jonesy, Mike Jones on board. He's a world-class rider now. He's got a lot of experience and he's doing a great job for us. So in some ways we've been unlucky, and in another way it's great to have Mike back on the bike.
You're also training flat out to come back at round 3. Is that the aim at the moment?
I mean, there's things that I can do. Obviously I can't ride the motorcycle, but I've still been able to do a bit of stuff, and I'm trying, doing everything I can to be ready for Tail and Bend. I think my finger only needs a couple more weeks, so it's looking okay. It's going well, but just not good enough to ride at the moment.
Best of luck the recovery, and hopefully we'll see you back on the bike soon, Troy.
Cheers, guys. We're looking forward to a good weekend anyway.
Yeah, it's still great to have you here this weekend. Troy Bayliss, of course, watching his son Ollie in the Supersport class. Having a look at the starting grid, how it's all going to line up for race number 2 for Kawasaki Superbikes. That front row, Crew Halliday for the Yamaha Racing team, is sitting on pole position. He absolutely loves this track. He actually took the round win last year for the Supersport class. Wayne Maxwell is starting in second. A very hungry Wayne. He certainly needs those points towards his championship. And the race winner was Troy Herfoss. As we chat through that race one, it really did have a bit of everything. It's over to the boys in the booth, Phil Harlem and Steve Martin.
Thanks very much, Emma. It was a great start from pole position for Crew Halliday as they blasted off the line for Kawasaki Superbike race number 1. But Wayne Maxwell charged down the inside and took the running at the front as they made their way through turn 2 and up the hill for the first time.
Brian Starring was looking pretty good though, but it wasn't long before Wayne Maxwell out front started to stretch the field. We saw Aidan Wagner there in the pack there. But this man, Mike Jones, making his debut on the Ducati the first time in a couple of years, was starting to make his way towards the front.
Yeah, he got up onto the back of Josh Waters, who was sitting back in 5th position as the top 4 started to get away. Troy Herfoss at this stage looked to be just keeping his powder dry on board the Penrite Honda, but then he started to make his charge at about mid-race distance. His first victim was the pole man, Crew Halliday, at the bottom of the hill, one of his favourite overtaking opportunities to move up into second on board that Penrite Honda.
Well, Wayne Maxwell at this point was watching his board as the guys were catching him up, but Crew Halliday made a crucial mistake early on and let Daniel Fowles on, who was charging towards the front, back past. But then this happened, Phil. Herfoss struck. It wasn't to be though. Maxwell fought back onto the straight, got a good drive, and Herfoss would have to wait for another time, but it wasn't long before he got that perfect drive out of AGV corner and once again up the inside of the number 47 Suzuki X-Star machine. This time he made it count. He got in front when it counted, and boy, with some fresh air in front of him, he was super fast.
Yeah, he was pulling away at lap record pace. He'd set a new lap record by this stage. Another rider on a charge was Glenn Scott. He made his way through the field, moving up past Damon Rees on board bike number 92 and started to move into the top 10. The Kiwis were having a good outing here at Wakefield Park with Sloane Frost on board bike number 33, also on a charge on his Suzuki.
Al Phillips was having a good battle up the front too, but look at Glenn Scott. He is getting and growing in confidence with every lap around this Wakefield Park circuit on his Kawasaki.
Yeah, last lap, last corner, it was Crew Halliday that had recovered from that disaster halfway through the race to charge down the inside of Wayne Maxwell and get great drive out of turn 10, and on the way to the line took up the running in 2nd position, but it was the governor of Goulburn, the wizard of Wakefield Park, Troy Herfoss, that took the win once again. Back down to Emma.
Goulburn, I like that one. Thanks, Phil. The king of Wakefield Park, Troy Herfoss, taking the very first race win for Kawasaki Superbike. We have a huge day of racing ahead of you as we take a look at this schedule. We've got the YMO Supersport 300, race number 3, the final race for the Supersport class, and then Kawasaki Superbike race number 2 to finish off the day. Who will take the round win here? We're not too far away from finding out. A quick break from Wakefield Park. When we return, we go racing for YMI Supersport 300, race number 3. Stay with us.
In the production meeting at the start of the year, the team wanted to mix things up a little bit. So I came up with an idea. I said, why don't you give me the track for half an hour? In the production meeting at the start of the year, the team wanted to mix things up a little bit. So I came up with an idea. I said, why don't you give me the track for half an hour, an R1, and I can take the viewers for their own personal ride around the Wakefield Park track. So I want you to come with me now on board and see what this track is all about. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of action to be had.
So here we go as we head around the final turn onto the main straight for the first time. Get a hard on the gas out of there, tucking behind the screen, up through the gears, 4th, 5th gear, heading into the kink in the main straight. Boy, it's pretty tricky through there. Down a couple gears, hard on the brakes as we head into Kawasaki corner. It's a pretty tricky entry, a little bit off camber there. Make sure you clip that apex, but once again, keep that mid-corner speed up. Hard on the gas again, 2nd, 3rd gear as you head up into KTM. Bit of a flip-flop, really bumpy through here. Got to be careful you don't lose the front end there. We've seen that happen before. Up through Suzuki, it's a long, long right-hander now, and it just dips off as you head downhill. Make sure you get the apex again. Edge of the tyre all the way through, clicking through the gearbox. Short shifting there up to 3rd gear. Down the hill you go into what I think is the trickiest corner on the track. The tight left-hander, YMA corner. It feels so slow through here, but I'll tell you what, you get on that throttle too early, and it could be all over. Keep on going left around here. Keep the mid-corner speed up as you head onto the back straight through AGV. I'll tell you what though, not much of a straight here at Wakefield Park, because you've got to get hard on the brakes as you head into that final corner. YMI, Yamaha revs your hard out corner. And there you go, once again, through the on the gas, down you go onto that main straight. Tuck in over the thing, and you can see the finish line up ahead. You can get towards the finish line. There goes the checkered flag. And that, my friends, is a lap of Wakefield Park. An incredible place, and boy, we're going to have some spectacular racing up ahead.
Well, thanks very much, Steve Martin. What a great lap of Wakefield Park. It is 2.2 kilometres of absolute action. And once again, a massive crowd has poured in here at Wakefield Park. Thankfully for them, weather conditions are holding off. We have had the threat of rain so far this weekend, but at the moment it is partly cloudy. In fact, the track temperature is probably pretty close to perfect, and we are going to see some very exciting racing this afternoon for all of the races on this afternoon's schedule.
We've already seen lap records fall this weekend, and these 300 riders that we're about to see on track are going to be no different. They've already lowered the lap record in the races earlier this weekend. It's time for them to get serious. It's their final race of the weekend, so it's going to be very interesting.
Well, the MA calendar events, there is plenty coming up over the next couple of weeks. The FIM Oceania Speedway Sidecar Championship is on at Gilman Speedway at the 29th and 30th of March. The Pirelli Australian MX Nationals Round 2, the 30th and 31st of March from Wonthaggi in Victoria. And the Australian Junior Road Racing Championship Round 2, 5 to the 7th of April at Broadford in Victoria.
Let's not forget the FIM Speedway Sidecar 1000cc World Cup at Gilman Speedway on the 5th and 6th of April, and the Australian Off-Road Championship rounds 3 and 4, 6 and 7 of April from Dungog in New South Wales. Pirelli Australian MX Nationals round 3, 13, 14 April in Broadford. That's near me. I might go there, Phil.
Yep, Broadford Bike Bonanza is one not to miss over the Easter weekend as well. The Australian Junior Track Championships in April, and also the Australian Speedway Sidecar Championships from the Pioneer Park Speedway in Queensland. Let's get back down to the pits, and Emma.
Thank you very much, Phil. Just here with team owner of Team Suzuki X-Star, Dale Breed, and Dale, Wayne Maxwell came into the team, and then obviously Alex Phillips sort of as a satellite rider, so you've expanded. A really big 2019 for you guys.
Yeah, look, we've decided to take another step forward. We ran 2 riders last year after running Josh in 2017 and winning the championship, which was great. So 2019 for us was just looking at continuing to grow the team and obviously support Suzuki and the factory as much as possible. So naturally we wanted 2 championship riders when it comes to trying to get this title back from 2017, and then Alex was a very strong Suzuki rider and had been a privateer for a couple of years on that brand. So we just thought he was a right fit for us to bring into our program and expand into that satellite situation. So it's been good.
Let's talk through race 1. Wayne finishing 3rd, Josh finishing in 6th. You've had some time to go back with the boys and debrief. How are they feeling with those positions?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, we come to every event, every race, we want to go and win it. But I think overall, where we are and what we've done has been really positive this weekend. The package is quite good. Josh has had some issues. Unfortunately, we had an issue with a bike not long ago, and so we've had to put him on another bike, and for whatever reason we can't seem to get that bike to feel the same as the other ones that we've got. So that's a bit of a problem at the moment. Wayne, on the other hand, he's actually quite happy with the setup of the bike and the way the bike feels. There's a couple of niggly things that we need to get on top of that would have made a big difference in that particular race. And Alex did a fantastic job. I mean, Alex was strong and well inside the top 10 and raced well and did sort of what we'd expect him to do.
Thanks, Dale. Good luck for the next one, boys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Great to hear from Dale there. And they have had a great weekend, the Team Suzuki X-Star guys. Their 600 rider also doing a great job. Getting ready to head up on the warm-up lap now for our Supersport 300 class. And they have provided some sensational racing action over the 5 races that we've seen so far this year, Steve Martin. And this one, the 6th race in the 2019 championship, surely going to be no different.
Yeah, absolutely. This tight Wakefield Park circuit is just a perfect track for these little 300 machines. Of course, we've seen plenty of racing so far, and it's Max Stauffer from Ben Baker and Zach Levy who round up your front row. Johnny Littress, Lockie Taylor and Hunter Ford on row 2. Travis Hall, Harry Curry and Brandon Demery making his way back in the championship as well on row 3.
Yeah, row 4 will be Yanni Shaw, Senna Agius and Kyle O'Connell. With the 5th row, Seth Crump, who had a good result in the race this morning, Xylis Bunting and Tristan Adamson rounding out row 5, with Luke Johnson, Callum O'Brien and Mitch Kuhn rounding out row 6.
I love Mitch Kuhn's leathers too. Peter Nerlich, Taylor Ralph and Jacob Ralston from row 7. Taylor on the Kawasaki this year. Bronson Pickett, Ryan Smith and Grace Pouch, row 8. Row 9, of course, Joe Blinken, Brenda Watson and Keegan Pickering.
Yeah, Keegan Pickering riding injured this weekend. Jeremy Smock and Ryan Moscardini round out the huge field that we have here. I think 34 riders we had start earlier on today, and they're coming round now to take up their positions on the grid. And race victories so far this weekend have both gone to Max Stauffer, but he's been joined on the podium by a few different riders. In the race this morning, Zach Levy, who has been in this class for quite some time now, one of the most experienced campaigners. You can see him there on board bike number 87, the Puma RV's machine. He's also one to watch. He was 2nd this morning. And Lockie Taylor. You won't miss Lockie Taylor on that bright fluoro yellow and red machine starting from the 2nd row of the grid.
Watch out for number 308 as well. He's pretty quick, isn't he? Johnny Littress.
He was on the podium in the race yesterday. Unfortunately had a DNF earlier on today. As we get ready to go racing in the first race of the day for the YMI Australian Supersport 300s onto this afternoon's telecast, their 3rd and final race of the weekend. The red flag has left the grid. Max Stauffer starting from pole position, 2 from 2 so far. Can he make it 3 from 3 as he gets a great jump off the line? And they all charge down towards turn 1 as this massive field makes their way across the start-finish line. Benny Baker's got a great start on board bike number 72, and Johnny Littress, the man you picked to watch on board bike number 308, is well positioned in 3rd as they run up the hill for the first time.
Well, he's got to make the most of it because he had a DNF earlier on today, and I'm sure he wants to put that right. But it is Max Stauffer out front at the moment. Boy, he's been fast off the blocks all weekend here at Wakefield Park. He knows how to win. He did a lot of winning at Phillip Island earlier on in round 1, and he's already put himself in this 3rd race of the weekend here out in front.
Yeah, good to see Seth Crump on board bike number 57. The sole KTM in that front group has got away well from his very low grid position at the moment, not usually where we'd associate Seth Crump starting, so keep your eye on board bike number 57. He was up into 5th place in the race this morning, so looking for another strong result to round out the weekend.
Well, there's Travis Hall. You can't miss him on his Dayglow orange machine. So Travis Hall, who rides here and overseas. Harry Curry on the number 43, already looking to take a dive up the inside of this 10-lap race.
Yeah, also Hunter Ford didn't have the race that he would like this morning either on board bike number 20, and he's well positioned in that lead group as well. You can see him back there in about 6th or 7th position and looking to try and make a bit of a charge forward. Unfortunately, Zach Levy and Hunter Ford probably paying a little bit of a weight penalty over the guys at the front. Maxi Stauffer, what would he be? 45 kilos ringing wet, Steve Martin, and Johnny Littress, he's probably even lighter than Max. Absolutely. And he goes into the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny Littress takes the lead at the moment. Just look at how hard he's pushing the front of that R3 Yamaha as well. You can see the front moving around there as they head up around the Suzuki corner. Johnny Littress obviously wants to win this one after the disappointment of not finishing race 2 earlier on today.
Yeah, but he had a really watershed round at the first round at Phillip Island. He scored his first victory in race number 3 of the weekend, was on the podium in other races as well, and he came into this round with a whole lot of confidence. He's already been on the podium this weekend, and he's looking to make amends commends for that DNF in this morning's race as he comes down now into the final corner, leading this group of riders, quite a large group of riders, as we normally expect with the Supersport 300. Our race leader earlier on, Max Stouffer, has slipped back to third position, and right behind him it is the very experienced Zach Levy on board bike number 87, the Puma RV's machine. Then it's Lockie Taylor on 151 and Hunter Ford on bike number 20. Have just started to get a little bit of a gap now. The second group there being led by Harry Curry on board bike number 43 with Seth Crump and Travis Hall. That man, as you mentioned, a lot of experience in the Asian Championships as well on board bike number 31. And Brandon Demery hasn't raced for 18 months. He's had a strong weekend here on his return to racing on board bike number 11.
Definitely good to see Brandon Demery back in the fray. He's an ex-champion of this class as well, so good to see him back. We were talking about lap records earlier on. The lap record for this class is 105.9 and 106.8 is what they're doing at the moment. So just warming up at the moment. But I'll tell you what, Benny Baker's putting a lot of pressure on Johnny Littris out front at the moment. Johnny Littris, though, leads the way with 3 laps gone of this 10-lap race.
Yeah, Johnny Littris is the man that now holds the lap record, courtesy of that lap yesterday afternoon. And he's leading them down into the final corner, Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner. And it is a whole lot of Yamahas at the front. There's, in fact, our leading Kawasaki's Ninja 400. That is Senna Adjus on board bike number 80, doing a pretty good job at the moment. But it's fair to say, Steve Martin, that the Kawasaki's have really struggled here this weekend with the restrictions that have been put on that bike.
Yeah, well, they were on the podium last time out at Phillip Island. For one reason or another, they can't get the bike to work around this track. But it's good to have that new ZX Ninja 400 in the class this year.
Well, as they drive up towards the top of the hill, it is still Littris on 308 that leads from Stouffer on 27 and Benny Baker on 72. That lead group have just started to stretch out the gap now as Seth Crump has got past Harry Curry and is now trying to make his way forward. But that gap just seems to be getting out a little bit. The fastest man on the last lap was, in fact, Hunter Ford at the end of this lead group, 106.429. The top 6 all in the 106s, then Seth Crump, Harry Curry, Senna Adjus and Travis Hall all back into the 7s, except for Senna, who just put in a 106.743.
That's a pretty impressive lap time from him, but it is Johnny Littris out front with Maxi Stouffer in second. Maxi always looks so smooth. Lockie Taylor, there's Harry Curry going up the inside and makes it, but Seth Crump's worked his way to the front of that group now. A little bit of a gap leading to the leading group, though. Going to be difficult to catch up for him, I would say.
Yeah, Seth Crump, a race winner in this class in previous years, has struggled this weekend for one reason or another to get the KTM up towards the front. As they come, you can see there, Max Stouffer had a big front end lose. He just must have hit one of those many bumps that we saw in your track preview on the way up the hill there. And of course, the Supersport 300, some of the lightest bikes that we see racing here this weekend, they'd be affected by the bumps a lot more than the Superbikes.
Especially when you add on to the fact that they've got some of the lightest riders as well. Some of these guys out there are juniors racing in a couple of different classes this weekend. So good to see Johnny Littris back out in front here and pretty much commanding this race at the moment.
Yeah, just sitting back in second place is Max Stouffer, who, as we commented this morning, is looking more and more like his dad's riding style as he continues his progression through road racing. Only Max Stouffer's 3rd year of road racing as he sits there in second place on board bike number 27. But the more he rides, the more he looks like his dad, the 4-time Australian champion, 2 Superbike championships and 2 Supersport championships to Jamie Stouffer's name. Well, there's the son of a 3-time Speedway world champion, Seth Crump, having a whale of a battle at the moment with Senna Adjus, a young man who has got a lot of overseas experience and he's looking to be in a bit of a hurry on board his Kawasaki Ninja 400.
Yeah, of course, Senna just joining the championship this year. Has spent a lot of time racing overseas, but he's come back now, joined the Kawasaki fray, and he's telling the guys, did you see that? He pulled his arm off and he said, stay behind when we can catch the group in front, as if that's going to work with a bunch of guys like that.
We've been watching this class for many years, Steve Martin. It never works. And Senna Adjus is just the latest one to try and get them to follow, which we know is not going to happen. Speaking of following, Johnny Littris has had to follow Max Stouffer down the hill, but he makes a big jump up the inside. Max cuts to the inside, but I think Littris is just going to have the run out of the bottom of the corner there at YMI to lead them through AGV corner and down the hill into the final corner. Speaking of AGV, Max Stouffer this round took the brand new AGV pole position award and has a brand new AGV helmet in his kit bag on the way home this afternoon, courtesy of that prize put up by AGV.
That's certainly a good prize. Look at this, up the inside goes Johnny Littris, pushes wide a little bit Max Stouffer, but nevertheless it was a very clean pass. He pushed the front and he made it stick, but Then up the front, these three guys are still vying for that position. Benny Baker perhaps is the guy at the moment who's just saving that energy for the last couple of laps of this race. Because if you can keep a little bit of energy in your pocket, it comes in quite handy when you've got to get aggressive, or when things get aggressive on the last lap.
Well, Benny Baker is actually knocking on the door of the fastest lap, of the lap record, because actually just set the fastest lap of this race, a 106.090 as he sits there in third place. So Littrus still leads from Stouffer on 27. Baker just, they've opened up a little bit of a gap now over the chasing pack led by Zach Levy, Lockie Taylor and Hunter Ford in that lead group, with Lockie Taylor actually going to the back of that three-bike train, trying to go with the leaders at the moment. In fact, it looks like Zach Levy's been able to break away from Hunter Ford. Then it's Seta Adjis, the next rider through. Harry Curry having a big lunge up the inside, not able to get past the late braking Seth Crump. Yeah,
Seth Crump doing a great job on his KTM RC390 up there. Bit of dirt action there, got to keep it on the tar, but he's got a four-way battle there at the moment. Has Seth Crump for 8th position. He's leading that, but Harry Curry wants to try and make his way past.
I think that was bike number 31, Travis Hall, that actually ran onto the dirt there, trying to get onto the back of Brandon Demery on board bike number 11.
Yeah, good to see Brandon Demery in that. We've already mentioned that he's just making his comeback. Australian champion, ex-champion in this class in the R3 Cup. He's been a long-time runner in this class, out for 18 months, as you said, Phil. Good to see him back.
Yeah, he's done very little riding in the last 3 years. In fact, as we look at the lead group, once again, it is Littrus leading from Stouffer and Baker. Look at that gap they've managed to open up. The fastest man on track, though, on the last lap was Max Stouffer at 105.833. I think you might find that is a new lap record. The lap record set yesterday afternoon by Johnny Littrus was a 105.974. So Max Stouffer is the new lap record holder in the Supersport 300 class.
And that's why there is that big gap, because these guys have been pushing that lap record lap after lap. They've been so close, they've broken it now. And with a couple of laps to go, I think we're going to see a bit of a ding-dong battle happening up front.
Yeah, we've got 8 laps down of the 10-lap journey. And we've seen Max Stouffer time his races to perfection in 4 of the 5 races held so far. Can he make it 5 out of 6? As he sits in second position, but he's got a very keen Benny Baker on board bike number 72 right behind, and a blisteringly fast John Littrus in front of him on board bike number 308. This is not going to be a walk in the park for Max Stouffer if he thinks he's going to take his 5th victory of the year.
No, well, Benny Baker hasn't won a race this weekend yet, so I'm sure that he's so close. He's got the opportunity to do it here, and you've got to think, you're going to lay it on the line? Well, yes, he is.
Round through the bottom of the fish hook at the YMI corner, it is still Littrus that leads. They'll be coming up. There's only 2 more corners to go in that lap. Look at the lean angle of Littrus there. Seems to have a lot more lean angle through that corner. Well, he's just wasted a little bit of the drive that he got by turning around and having a look at all he saw was a big number 27 right behind him, and also the 72 machine of Benny Baker.
This very important now as they head down the straight, the slipstream effect. You can see that group in front. They're vying all over there. It's Hunter Ford, Zach Levy and Lockie Taylor in a little battle of their own. That's for 4th position. Very important to be in the front of that group, because if something happens up front, these guys possibly vying for a podium position. On the last lap we are right now. It's Johnny Littrus out front at the moment. You can just see him as he heads back up the hill towards Suzuki corner, and through he goes. He's got a little bit more mid-corner speed. Max Stouffer punches it in there and gets right on the back wheel. Benny Baker there, heading down the hill now. There's a big overtaking opportunity as they head into the fish hook. And he's gone up the inside. Stouffer up the inside. Can he hold it tight? He does hold it tight. He's already lost the front a couple of times this weekend, but saved it. He runs a bit wide. Littrus is on the inside, but it is Stouffer who leads now. Littrus is good on the brakes. Out of AGV they go. Watch Littrus now. He's got a good drive. Stouffer's got to brake as late and tight as he can, but Littrus has gone up the inside. He's right up the inside. He's made it on the inside, and he pulled a big gap there. Stouffer has got good drive, Phil. He's in the slipstream, but I think this is going to be Johnny Littrus who takes this one. Stouffer's tucked in now. Benny Baker's in there as well as they head over the line. John Littrus wins this one.
Yep, so that's the 2 rounds so far this year that Littrus has taken the win in the final race of the round. Max Stouffer takes 2nd place, and he is 4 out of 6 so far in 2 second places. Looking back through the field, it is Mitch Kuhn having a big lunge up the inside there in the battle for minor placings. And on the last lap, or actually the second last lap, Benny Baker set a new lap record of a 105.740. So as they come to the line in that battle a little bit further down the field, I'm just not quite sure where those riders finished. I think it was Kyle O'Connell, Mitch Cood and Luke Johnson for 13th, 14th and 15th position. But congratulations to Johnny Littrus. Takes it win and that will be a great result for him overall for the round, despite the DNF that he had in race number 2. Max Stouffer will be the round winner once again, and Benny Baker, whose best result at the first round, Steve Martin, was a 9th place finish, has finished on the podium once again on board bike number 72 and is the new lap record holder at Wakefield Park.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 R3 Yamahas on the front. You can see them there. Johnny Littress takes win. Maxi Stouffer in second. Ben Baker. Hunter Ford, good result from him. Lockie Taylor back a little bit. Senna Sagers, good on the Kawasaki there. Harry Curry, Brandon Demery, Travis Hall and Seth Crump rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, Zach Levy slipped back to be in 11th place at the finish, just ahead of Yanni Shaw. Kyle O'Connell in 13th place. Mitch Kuhn in 14th. Luke Johnson in 15th. We saw those guys come to the line in a pretty close result. Jacob Ralston takes 16th place. Zylas Bunting in 17th. Peter Nerlich in 18th. Callum O'Brien in 19th. And Taylor Ralph, his teammate, back there in 20th position.
Unusual to see her back there. Bronson Pickett in 21st. Keegan Pickering, who's riding injured, as you said, in 22nd. Grace Pouch in number 33 and 23. Christian Agostini, there's a famous name. Brendan Watson, John Blenken, Ryan Muscadini in 27th. Stephanie James in 28th and Aidan Stiff 29th and Craig White in 30th.
Lachlan O'Brien and Jeremy Smock unfortunately didn't make it to the finish. And once again, as we mentioned, the class of 2019 in the Supersport 300 class have a lot to live up to, because the years previous to this have shown some exciting racing, and after 2 rounds, good to see that these guys are keeping up the excitement that we've seen over the last couple of years. But congratulations to Johnny Littress, takes the win. Let's have a look at the highlights now. As they got off the line, it was Max Stouffer. They got a great start from the front row of the grid and led them through turns 1 and 2 for the first time. But you can see our top 3 were already well positioned in the first lap of the race.
Absolutely. Lockie Taylor was up there as well, but it didn't take long for Johnny Littress to make his face known in this race, being up the front. Harry Kuru, we saw a bit of him, but this man here on screen, Johnny Littress, what corner speed he held, right behind, shadowing Max Stouffer in the number 27 R3, but then up the inside he goes 308. It just seemed that every time he got to the front he had a go. Harry Kuru dove up the inside, but Seth Crump, how tough was he? Yeah,
that was a great battle between Seth Crump, Harry Kuru back there in the field, although Senna Agee is doing a great job as well. Littress was strong on the brakes, bottom of the hill or the Yamaha Revs Hard corner, it didn't really matter, he was prepared to have a go. Max Stouffer showed his cards early, put them down on the table, and Johnny Littress, I think, may have had one more ace up his sleeve as they made their way through AGV corner and down to the final corner on the last lap. It was Johnny Littress that pulled to the inside. He'd already shown his very good strength on the brakes. Down the inside, you could see the front end bouncing all around the place like a pogo stick, but he managed to hold it on line, get good drive to the finish, and took the race win. As we mentioned, the second time that he's taken the win in the third race of the weekend and scores some good championship points. Benny Baker also up on the podium as well, and we'll hear from those top 3 in just a moment. Well, you can see there.
Right, let's head down to Emma. She is on the podium with our winners.
Yeah, starting with position number 3, Ben Bacon, congratulations. A great way to finish your weekend. Well done.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, it was a really good race. Had a bit of a moment coming down the hill, but managed to recover. And then just unlucky for Max about the lap rider. But good job to John. Just like to thank all my sponsors, Jekyll and Hyde, UTEC, SCK, Moto Stars, and everyone else. Brizza for buying me tyres, Mark Weaver for helping with the bike, and just everyone else. Thanks.
Thanks, Ben. Well done. In second position, Max Stouffer. What a fantastic weekend you've had. And hey, you got a very, very special helmet yesterday from AGV as well, didn't you?
Yeah, thank you, AGV, for putting up that pole position award. It's a fantastic way to contribute to the sport. Can't thank them enough.
Well done, Max. See you at the next one. And in first position, congratulations to John Littress, certainly bouncing back after race 1 DNF. Well done.
Yeah, it was a good fun run. Yeah, it was a really good fun race. Thanks to all the boys for the good competition. Yeah, it was definitely better than a DNF with the chain failure in the last one. But yeah, I'd like to thank all the people that made it happen. Jekyll and Hyde, Caboolture Yamaha, AGV, TCX and Pirelli, and ACS, Australian Civil Solutions. Thank you.
Your winner, John Littress. Well done, boys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Congratulations to our top 3 and Johnny Littress for his second race win of the year. It certainly is a great class, the Supersport 300. The best thing, Steve Martin, is that we've got guys, we've got young fellas, and we've also got a lot of the girls in there doing a great job And Keegan Pickering, as we mentioned, racing injured this weekend. She's a pretty tough customer.
Yeah, he did a good job too at getting all the sponsors in there, didn't he? I mean, these not only are they good racers, they're good little talkers and plugging their sponsors. So good to see the guys doing that.
Well, we're going to go to a break and come back with continuing action here from round 2 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship from Wakefield Park. Back shortly.
What I would give as a kid to have a bike like this, a race series developed for 11 to 15-year-olds. It just wasn't around back in the old days. Thankfully, things are different in 2019. The Oceania Junior Cup is about now. A lot of hard work's gone into developing it. Let's find out from the key players and some of the riders how it all happened.
Hi, I'm Damien Cudlin. I'm the official coach for the Oceania Junior Cup. Really excited to be here. It's the first round at Wakefield Park, and it's been a big build-up to get to this point, but to see them all here, it's fantastic. And you know, it's a great opportunity for these kids not only to race but to learn as well, and that's my role, is to teach them as much as I can, pass on as much information, and really excited to see them race.
I love this because of the opportunity that it gives and the close and tight racing. So 1 minute you could be in first, 1 minute you could be in last, you never know.
So far we've been at Phillip Island, it's been great, all exciting stuff.
I'm really excited to race here in Australia and explore the country. You know, riding with 26 kids is really cool because I can make new friends, and it's going to be really competitive, and I'm always up for a challenge, so it's going to be real fun.
My name's Trevor Manley, and my role in the Oceania Cup is Technical Director. I'm in charge of about 6 staff members to look after things like tyres, tyre temperature, wheels are in line, bikes are all working properly, and we give the parents assistance in, you know, we're trying to train the parents up so they know how to look after the bike. Some of them have never been involved in this sort of thing before, and they're actually learning quite a lot.
I'm Martin Fort. I'm the category manager for the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. My role basically has been to pull this project together, but to be honest, that wouldn't have been possible without significant support from a number of partners, especially FIM Oceania has definitely been a major partner in this project, along with Dorna, who've also offered us and our kids a number of slots in the Asia Talent Cup and the Red Bull Rookies Cup. With that excitement, we've got 26 kids here, and behind that project is also Pirelli, Motul, AGV, Rakondi. This project couldn't happen without the support of the whole industry, and that's probably one of the most amazing things about that, how this industry's come together for a project like this.
Park and the continuing action from round 2 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. We are getting ready for the second race now for the Supersport 600 category, and the riders are already out on the grid and getting ready to head off on their final warm-up lap. We've already seen one extremely exciting race so far this morning. Tom Taparis, the man that starts from pole position, took victory, Steve Martin, but the battles further back in the pack were incredibly intense.
Yeah, they certainly were. It was an incredible 300 race, but boy, this 600 race, if it's anything like the racing we've seen so far this year, this class is certainly amped up in quality and style, with some big names involved in it this year as well. So good to see the field out there. A lot of the riders are R6 mounted. We've also got Sam Lambert on the MV Augusta, and what an impressive sounding machine that is to see and hear as well.
And also Reid Batty on board the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia machine, bike number 33. He's qualified on the front row of the grid, and he also put in a good strong ride in the race this morning, where he finished in 4th position, just behind our top 3, Tom Taparis, Brock Pearson and Ollie Bayliss. Brock Pearson didn't get the best of starts, but geez, he was fast through the race. He made his way through the field, and we also saw a brand new lap record for, well, the protege of the Governor of Goulburn, Troy Herfoss, the young man that incredibly, that looks up to Troy, Tom Taparis, 59.575. That's faster than some of our Superbike riders have been this weekend.
Yeah, that is the case too. And boy, does he know how to ride a motorcycle. There is that MV Augusta. It's a beautiful looking machine as well. Sam Lambert from the Northern Territory riding that this weekend. So we are in for an absolute cracker. But I agree with you, Phil. Keep an eye on Brock Pearson, because he did find something in that last part of the race. There's Reid Batty on the number 33 Suzuki. Suzuki's are good around here.
Well, let's have a look at the grid. It is Tom Taparis, Brock Pearson and Reid Batty that start from the first row of the grid, with Ollie Bayliss, Nick Leamington, who's had to take his second spare bike, the bike that's, I think, 8 years old, starting out of row 2, along with Ty Lynch.
Of course, row 4, Chris Quinn, Sam Lambert and Andrew Edster are back there on row 4, with Jack Passfield and John Quinn in row 5.
Yeah, let's hope they've been able to repair Ty Lynch's bike, because he had a big lunge up the inside of Reid Batty in the battle for 4th position, and unfortunately went down pretty hard at turn 2, the Kawasaki corner, and that was the end of his race. While we're getting ready for the second and final Supersport race for the afternoon, the red flag is about to leave the front of the grid. The red light will come on, and we will be away racing. Tom Taparis starts from pole position. Can he make it 2 from 2 as they blast off the line? It looked like Reid Batty got another great start on board the Suzuki, and as they charge down in towards turn 1 for the first time, Batty tries to go up the inside, but Taparis around the outside, but I think he hasn't got the greatest drive up the hill, Steve Martin, and it is Reid Batty and Brock Pearson, who's got a cracking start in race 2. Oh, he's sideways as they go up towards the top of the hill. Brock Pearson was lucky to keep that bike on track.
Yeah, I don't know how he managed to do that, but he's got himself a much better start than last time. Keep an eye on Brock Pearson now. If he can pick up the pace that he had last time out, he could challenge for the win of this. But Reid Batty, once again, what a great start from him. He's certainly a fast, hard charger and new to the 600, and boy, he can ride it pretty good.
Yeah, it looked like Ty Lynch got away to a pretty good start as well. And also Aidan Hayes on board bike number 46 had his best round ever in the Australian Supersport Championship at the first round down at Phillip Island, and he's looking to continue that momentum along here this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Aidan Hayes sits 5th in the championship at the moment. He would have pitched himself if you told him that at the start of the year that he'd be sitting in that position. Good riding from him, but it's all Tom Taparis out front, who's gathered things up now and back to the domination that we've seen so far this year.
Yeah, a new team for Tom Taparis this year, a new motorcycle for Tom Taparis this year. Rode for Cube Racing over the last couple of years, but this year he's on the Lambridge Transport Yamaha. Sam Costanza and the crew have done a great job to provide him with an excellent bike. The one continuing thing that he has got, and that is the man that's in his corner, Marty Dowd, doing a great job once again, preparing the bike for Tom, and he's been on lap record pace so far all of this weekend. Right behind him, though, and not letting him get away, and looking very serious in race number 2 is bike number 33, Reid Batty. Looked like he was having a big lunge down the inside. Speaking of lunges, Ollie Bayliss has had cut a big one on Ty Lynch as well.
And it looks like Taparis has run wide. Taparis is right wide. He's got back to third position. He must have had some sort of front end problem there. So it looks like now that Reed Batty's taking the front. He's not giving up the fight. And watch Brock Pearson up the inside. He's trying to dive up the inside. Ollie Bayliss is there now too.
This is all action at the front of the Supersport class, because I think what happened there was Reed Batty had a big lunge at Taparis at the bottom of the hill, probably pushed him a fraction wide, and Brock Pearson knows that he is well and truly in the battle for the win now, something he's desperately wanted all of this year.
Well, Ted Collins has won here in the past on Suzuki. They're no strangers to winning at this circuit a couple of years ago now, so we know that the Suzuki sweet handling chassis works well around this 2.2 kilometre circuit.
Yeah, it's also got great drive off the bottom of the rev range as well, has the Suzuki, as we've already got one.
Is that Nick Limington?
No, I think that might be Chris Quinn, the most experienced man in the field on board bike number 82. Unfortunately, it looks like an early end for the Holmes Extractive Resources Yamaha R6.
Looks like he made a mistake, ran off. The bike was still running. Hopefully he can get himself back out on track. But meanwhile, Reed Batty's not thinking about that. He's thinking about keeping the Wolves at bay. We've got another faller.
Not sure who that was, but there was a bit of dust up there. I think that may have been Ty Lynch maybe that was off the track and pushing very hard on the exit of AGV corner. You can see him there on board bike number 85, just behind the lead group as the top three have started to get away now.
Ty Lynch is riding fantastically. He's come such a long way in a short period of time there. You can see Ollie Bayliss behind him. Worth mentioning, Ollie Bayliss had a big crash. Let's head down to Emma with an update.
Yeah, guys, sorry, I was just walking through pit lane and I caught Taylor Ralph, who is just about to be presented with this beautiful AGV helmet. Thank you to the guys at AGV. Fastest female for the weekend. How does it feel?
Yeah, you know, obviously it's been a really difficult weekend for us. You know, the rule restrictions are making it very difficult for all the 400 riders. Yeah, really thank the AGV for this reward. I do wear the trusty Shark helmet, so I'm sure I'll find a good owner for the AGV. But no, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Girl power. Very proud, Taylor. Thanks, guys.
Well, back to the action. It is Tom Taparis having a big lunge up the inside of Reed Batty. Tell you what, he may have won the first race, but he's not having everything go his own way in this second race, as the man from the south coast of New South Wales is pushing the Goulburn local for everything he's worth. And the Queenslander, Brock Pearson, on board bike number 17, is well and truly in the mix. Remember what we spoke about earlier, Steve Martin. Brock Pearson was extremely strong at the end of the race in race number 1. Can he do the same? Stay with Tom Taparis and Reed Batty and really push on towards the end of this 16-lap race.
I'll tell you what, you want to keep an eye on Ollie Bayliss in 4th position as well, because he's starting to hunt these guys down. He's just done his fastest lap of the race and faster than the 2 guys in front, so 3 guys in front. So Ollie Bayliss, there he is on the back of your screen, number 68, is starting to close down the gap. But Tommy Taparis, now that he's got a bit of clear track ahead of him, we know what he can do. He can set lap record after lap record.
As soon as Ollie Bayliss actually got past Ty Lynch, he was able to pull out 0.4 of a second in the first lap straight away. And right behind Ty Lynch is now closing in Aidan Hayes and also Nick Limington on board bike number 27. Nick Limington, how sideways does he get that machine down into the final corner? Reece Belling on board bike number 61 having a good weekend. And Dallas Skier, who was well outside the top 10 at the first round at Phillip Island, has been inside the top 10 pretty much all weekend on board bike number 86, doing a great job. And Sam Lambert on the MV Augusta has just stuck inside the top 10 as well.
Yeah, of course, it's taken Sam just a little bit of time to adapt to that MV Augusta, but I can't wait to see. We know how he rides. He's a front runner. When they get that bike sorted and up the front, it's going to be an absolute weapon.
He's probably the biggest and heaviest rider in the field as well, and possibly the smallest motorcycle as well, so aerodynamics might not be going all the way of Sam Lambert in 2019, but great to see the MV Augusta out here. This is an entertaining battle, the battle between Aidan Hayes on 46 and also Nick Limington on board bike number 27.
Yeah, giving it everything they've got. Look at the lean angle number 33 Reed Batty's got there. He really does lean that bike over and just takes a bit of a tight line there, trying to get up the inside of Tom Taparis, and exits tight too. Tom Taparis pretty much pinpoint accurate lap after lap. He's done a few laps around here. He just lives a few kilometres over the hill.
Yeah, just having a look at the bikes though too, that brand new Yamaha R6 that made its debut, won the championship in the hands of Crew Halliday last year, is completely different in the way the bike looks on track compared to the older Suzuki. Hasn't changed a lot over probably the last 4 or 5 years, but it just goes to show you what ain't broke, you don't need to fix. The Suzuki doing a great job. As you mentioned, Ted Collins won on the Suzuki a couple of years ago, and Reed Batty is riding the wheels off that Team Suzuki X-Star Australia machine this weekend. He's been strong all weekend. He qualified on the front row of the grid along with the 2 protagonists that he's battling with at the moment.
And that's the great thing about this circuit, Phil. It is a leveler. There's no big long straights here. You don't need a bike that accelerates super hard off the corners. You need, although it looks tight and twisty, it is, but it's sort of got a bit of a flow to it. So it can mean that the Suzuki, and look at Reid Batty, he's looking for a way past. It can be competitive here. So, you know, the leaps and bounds and the advances that the Yamaha have got, probably he can't make the most of the advantage of it here. It's pretty much a rider's track.
Let's go down to Em for an update.
Yeah, just here with Brock Pearson's dad, Ian, and he's certainly a part of the battle. Already had a podium. It would be great to see him get another podium. He's looking really fit at the moment.
Yes, he's really fit, and he's having a good dig at it now. Hopefully he can bring it home. Yeah, he's got the talent, and I'm really passionate about the sport, and I love him being out here.
Thanks, Ian. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, Brock Pearson, I mean, what a ride he is having out there. You can just see the different strengths between these riders as well. Reid Batty on the four-lane angle just seems to have a little bit more grip than Tom Taparis out the front. Different lines there. But Tommy Taparis is controlling this at the moment. And we've got number 54. Is that Sam Lambert? Sam Lambert in the MV Agusta is it's a premature end for him, unfortunately. Whatever gremlins they've got have continued with the MV Agusta.
Yeah, looked like some flames coming out the exhaust there as Sam coasted to a halt. Tom Taparis still leading Reid Batty. In fact, Taparis' fastest lap of the race at 59.816 on the last lap, but a 59.882, so only 7/100ths of a second between the top two. Brock Pearson, a 1 minute .0 lap time. They're just starting to get away by a 10th here and a 10th there from the rider on bike number 17. But we're not into the second, we're just into the second half of the race. This is where Brock Pearson really came into his own on race number 1.
Yeah, the lap times seem to be slightly slower than they were this morning.
Track temperature up, Steve?
Yep, track temperature up a little bit, and also perhaps the guys out front are just trying to conserve their tyres and energy until the last half of the race when it really matters. You don't win the race if you lead by a couple of seconds halfway through. You lead when you go over the line and get that checkered flag.
Well, it was a 59.575, the new lap record set for Tom Taparis in race number 1 earlier on today. He comes round now to come to the checkered flag and the line and complete lap number 9 of the 16-lap journey, a 59.787, a new fastest lap. Let's go back down to Emma while they start lap 9.
Well, were you just talking about Tom Taparis? I'm here with his dad, Richie, and I tell you what, he's unstoppable at the moment. He's looking really confident out there, isn't he?
He's very confident. He loves being at Wakefield Park. He loves riding this track, and he's performed very well in the last week or so. So he's very happy today. He's having a great day.
I have a bone to pick with you because everyone else was at your house last night, but I missed the invite.
Oh, I don't know what happened there. Where were you? What's the story?
See you tonight for the after party. Guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Em. And this weekend, Tom Taparis running special livery with all of the local sponsors. Gander Construction, Studio 4 Design, also the Green Grocer, the local cycling shop and meeting place for a lot of the Goulburn locals. And also, along with his long-time sponsor, Leader Sports Nutrition, on the Landbridge Transport Yamaha this weekend. But he has got a great lot of support from Yamaha YRD as well in 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Yamaha have put their support behind him, and for good reason. I mean, look at the way now he's able to just get those lap times down. 59.694 that time through. That's a pretty impressive lap time, and that's a new lap record, Phil. He's absolutely on the gas. Nearly a new lap record. He's getting very, very close. He just missed out by a couple of hundredths, so he's getting faster and faster.
You see Reid Batty's front end there bouncing across the bumps as he came up towards the top of KTM corner, and Brock Pearson has moved up into second position now. Let's have a look at the replay. You can see Brock Pearson just jam bike number 17 down the inside, and he is right on cue, as we said, fast in the end of the race as he was in race number 1 this morning. But how his bike just rode over those bumps and he was able to keep it on line was super impressive.
Well, there was a moment there where I think he was a little bit out of control, but it all gathered back for him, and you can see him now. He's just putting the hammer down. It was this point, as you said, last time out, that he managed to do those consecutive fast laps. He's dropped into the 59s as well now, so let's just keep an eye on Brock Pearson and see what he can do.
Well, let's have a look at Tom Taparis' lap time. Another 59, a 59.867 on that last lap. A 59.872 for Brock Pearson. That's his fastest lap of the race. He is trying to reel back in Tom Taparis. On that last lap, he was only 5/1000ths of a second slower than our race leader. And it looks like Reid Batty's charge on the Suzuki may be just about done. He's dropped back into the 1 minute laps now. and probably that lap was about 1 second slower than his fastest lap of the race. But still, if he can bring the Suzuki home on the podium, that'll be one result better than what he was in race number 1.
Yeah, in my mind, Reid Batty just looked over his shoulder then and said, you know what, I've risked enough, I'm going to settle myself for 3rd position. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if that's the end of Reid Batty's challenge. But he can't be too lax, because he's got Ollie Bayliss behind him, who's on a bit of a mission as well. Doing 1:00.1 is Ollie Bayliss, so he's definitely would like to get on the podium if he could.
Yeah, he's currently 3.6 seconds behind Reid Batty is Ollie Bayliss, as that rider just indicates to Tom Taparis, you can overtake me on the right because I'm not going quite as fast as you. I'm not circulating at lap record pace. In fact, that was Chris Crin, the most experienced man in the field. And Tom Taparis doing a great job out front, just a 1 minute 0.0 lap then. But Brock Pearson, a 59.8, 0.2 of a second faster. Brock Pearson is starting to close in. Great battle here too between Ty Lynch and Nick Leamington, the 2 South Australians having a ding-dong battle.
Yeah, you stole my thunder there. The 2 South Australians out there, Phil, they're having a great battle. Of course, Nick on the old R6. Ty is, boy, is he riding well as on the new R6. But fairly new to the class, but this is the best I've seen Ty Lynch ride.
He was a bit wide there coming out of Suzuki corner on the run down the hill. Nick Leamington was able to close up. Can he switch to the inside? We know he's good on the brakes. Nick Leamington not quite deep enough and has to drop back behind. Aidan Hayes is still also in this battle as well on board bike number 46. The fluoro yellow machine as they make their way out through AGV and down towards Yamaha corner.
There's been some massive improvers this year. Those 2 guys, Ty Lynch, Aidan Hayes and Nick Leamington. He was on the podium. He was finished 2nd overall at Phillip Island in round 1. So I feel sorry for him that his number 1 bike, his new model R6, let go earlier on in the weekend, so he's now on the old machine.
Well, also, while Nick Leamington is on screen, should mention that he missed 3 rounds of the championship last year after a cancer scare. He's made a full recovery from that, but the rounds that he did race last year, he was championship winning pace and looked like a serious championship contender. Last year was interrupted by illness. This year he's out to make a really good stab of it and sits in 2nd place leading into this 2nd and final race for the weekend on board the Yamaha R6 in the Supersport class. So he's having a good start to the 2019 season so far.
He's certainly looking for a way past. The thing that I will say about that R6, the old one, and he dives up the inside. He can't quite do it on Ty Lynch, but he's looking for a tight line. It's pretty nimble, but in the braking area, it goes absolutely sideways. Keep an eye if we get a look at him in here. He is going to be sideways as he heads in, and he makes the move up the inside into the final Yamaha revs your hard out corner, makes the pass. But what is the power like on that old model Yamaha compared to the new one? Pretty good.
Well, and you can also see that final corner, if you get it in there late and stop it, it doesn't penalise you as much as other corners. It actually is a lot tighter than what it looks, the final corner here at Wakefield Park, the Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner. Let's have a look at the replay now of Nick Leamington. You picked it, Steve Martin, sideways as they come into the corner. He stops it in the middle of the corner, and the bike behind of Ty Lynch wasn't able to get the run out of the corner. Nick said that the big difference between the old bike and the new bike is the punch off the corner, but he had sufficient drive there to get a good run out of the corner and maintain that position. He's moved up into 5th and looking strong at the end of the race.
Well, Reid Batty still sits there in 3rd position at the moment, just trying to fend off Ollie Bayliss behind him, while Tom Taparis is out the front on lap 15 of this 16-lap race.
Brock Pearson's got the gap down now under the psychological 1 second barrier. 0.889 of a second, but Taparis has stretched it back out on the last lap. It's back out to 1.1 seconds now. So I think Tom Taparis is just managing this lead over bike number 17, Brock Pearson. As we mentioned earlier on today, Steve, they've gone to battle plenty of times before, but not of recent on 600 Supersport machinery. Most of it was in the smaller bike categories, and Brock Pearson seemed to have the wood over Tom Taparis in that category. This weekend, it's been all about Tom Taparis, the man that currently leads the Supersport Championship after dominating the first round at Phillip Island with 3 wins, and he's now on track for 2 from 2 at Wakefield Park, his home circuit.
Well, the only thing that Brock Pearson could do now is keep that pressure on for the last half a lap. Who knows? He's got to try and push Tom Taparis to make a mistake. But Tom Taparis is smarter than that as he heads down the straight for the final time, the back straight into the Yamaha Revs Your Heart Out corner, Phil.
Well, one more corner to go for Tom Taparis. He's negotiated successfully. He comes to the line now and he will take the win. He's celebrating early as he comes across the line. Brock Pearson celebrating as well because it's a great result from him and 2nd place on the podium. But all of Goulburn is here this weekend to see the 2 local heroes, and Tom Taparis makes it 2 from 2. A great result for Reid Batty to get the Suzuki up onto the podium as well. Bike number 33 the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia machine. And the rest of the field comes through. Ollie Bayliss, a good result for him. And Nick Leamington does get the better of Ty Lynch. And a good result there for Nick Leamington, considering that his weekend didn't start off the way he wanted.
No, it certainly didn't start off the way he wanted. But, you know, he's... Oh, we've got a faller on the final lap.
That looks like Andrew Edser on board bike number 555. Is that coming out of AGV corner?
Yeah, he's Kawasaki mounted man. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to make the checkered flag. He got close, but Andrew Edser, a non-finisher in this one. But Tom Taparis, what a weekend he's had, Phil. Lap record. Race win after race win, 2 wins this weekend and pole position.
Yeah, it was great to see him, all 3 of them actually acknowledging the extremely large crowd on the hill up there. They're literally 4 and 5 deep on the hill up there, Steve Martin. All of Goulburn, it would appear, has come out to watch Tom Taparis this weekend. And they've been giving him a massive cheer. Look at the crowd. They are absolutely loving the racing here.
Ticket sales up 200% this year over previous rounds. So, as you say, Phil, great to see the support. And why wouldn't you want to come down when there's racing like that at hand to see? And this track is one of the best in the world to spectate on. You can see the whole track from the hill up over the back of the circuit there. Yeah,
it looks like Andrew Edser still struggling to get the 555 machine started. And unfortunate end for him, which has been a pretty strong weekend. He actually had a good finish earlier on today. He finished in 10th position on board bike number 555.
One of the few Kawasaki 600s in the field too, so a good job by him. Unfortunately for this race, he crashed out though.
Well, congratulations to Tom Taparis and the Landbridge Transport Leaders Sports Nutrition. Gander Constructions, Motul and Pirelli also giving him a lot of support this weekend as well. But I can't speak highly enough of the effort of that man, Brock Pearson, on board bike number 17. He has had a fantastic weekend this weekend. 2 second places, strong championship points. And remember, he's going to be strong at the next round at the Ben Motorsport Park and especially strong at Morgan Park, his home track, later on this year. Let's have a look at the highlights now. Once again, Tom Taparis got a great start from pole position. But Reed Batty on board bike number 33 was able to get the inside run down into the first corner, but Taparis around the outside ran a fraction wide, and Reed Batty went back into the lead on the drive up the hill for the first time.
It certainly wasn't going to be an easy job for Tom Taparis. He had to work for it. He did manage to get himself back in front pretty early on in the race though, and at that point we had a few people run off. That's Chris Quinn, who took to the dirt, managed to get himself back on the track later in the race, but pretty much saved a crash there. Back out front, Reed Batty did the hard work, got back in front of Tom Taparis, but every time into the Yamaha final corner there, Tom Taparis managed to get back past him in the braking area.
Yeah, unfortunately an early end for Sam Lambert as well on board the MV Augusta as he pulled up, and flames coming out of the SC Project exhaust as he coasted to a halt. Brock Pearson and Reed Batty were really battling hard for second position as Tom Taparis, who didn't have it all his own way in the first half of the race, just started to pull out a little bit of a lead. And also back in the pack, we saw a great battle from the 2 South Australians, Nick Leamington on board bike number 27 and Ty Lynch on board bike number 85, with Aidan Hayes not too far behind. But it was all about this man, the local hero, Tom Taparis, taking the win, his second of the weekend, his 5th of 2019, and Brock Pearson in second place. Reed Batty in third, down to Emma.
Reed Batty in third position. Congratulations, your first podium for the 2019 season. Great to see you smiling.
Thanks so much, Emma. It was a really good race out there. I battled with Tom for a bit, but unfortunately fell off a little bit there and ended up in third. But it's still an awesome result. The Suzuki was handling really well. I really want to just thank all my sponsors involved to get me here and to be on the podium today.
See you at the bend. Thanks, mate.
Thank you so much.
In second position, Brock Pearson, welcome back to the podium. Plenty of points collected for your championship this weekend. Well done.
Yeah, a bit better of a second race. We edged the gap towards Tom, but it just wasn't enough at the start. I think it was a matter of just saving tyre. I could tell what Tom was doing, so I thought I was just going to sit there. And then, yeah, towards the end we had a bit of a go at it, but I couldn't quite breach a gap. So I'm happy with today. This is my best finish in Supersport, I think, so far. So this is a good result, but of course everyone wants to win, so I'll keep working towards that. And I'd just like to thank my team. They've worked so hard for this, and Yamaha for giving us such a great bike, and my mum, my sister and my girlfriend, and everyone who gets behind me. Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
And in first position, he got the lap record, he got the round win. He is your local boy, Tom Taparis. Congratulations.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, that was a just crazy weekend. I'm so happy that it went as well as it did, and we were so lucky that it didn't rain in the end. But yeah, so, like a huge thanks to the Landbridge Yamaha team, and all my sponsors. It's just crazy weekend. Let's hope Troy can do the same now. He's on the right track. So yeah, just a massive thanks to my friends and family, everyone for coming out. It's great to see so many people out here, and yeah, what a weekend. One I won't forget for ages.
Enjoy the champagne, boys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Congratulations to Tom Taparis, Nick Leamington and Brock Pearson. They are the top three in the championship as we leave round two. Taparis with 127 points. Nick Leamington did a great job this weekend to maintain second position on 92. And Brock Pearson has moved up into third place on 89, 2 points ahead of his fellow Queenslander Ollie Bayliss. Reed Batty's moved up to fifth with that strong performance also this weekend. And the top 10 rounded out by Aidan Hayes, Ty Lynch, Callum Spriggs, not here this weekend, Reece Belling and John Quinn. Well, let's find out more about our race one winner in the Kawasaki Superbike class, Aidan Wagner.
At Phillip Island, he returned to the ASBK paddock, this time on a superbike, and certainly ruffled some feathers. He's fast, he's fearless, he's hungry for that championship. It is time to go behind the visor with privateer and round one winner, Aidan Wagner.
Overseas was a great experience. Also, it's very tough to be over there by yourself and, you know, to try and learn languages and to know what's going on inside your pit box when the team are talking. Because not only are you trying to communicate the bike setup and things like that to the team, you don't know what you're communicating, if it's coming across as correct or incorrect. So, and you know, it's a long way from home. My greatest achievement, I don't really have one in particular, but you know, I just take every race as it comes, and I just enjoy racing itself. You know, hopefully we can just continue strong this year and see how we go in the championship itself as a strong privateer team. So just make the most of every race we can.
Wagner's gone up the inside, Wagner's through, Wagner's touched, they've touched, he's down, Maxwell is down, that's a big one.
A long memory. Yeah, I've spoken to Wayne a bit. Everything's all good between me and him, so I think it was just a heat of the moment thing, and you know, that's racing. You know, can happen to anyone at any given moment, so everything's all good there.
welcome back to Wakefield Park. As you can see behind me, we're getting set and ready to go for Kawasaki Superbike race number 2. We'll speak to the riders shortly. In the meantime, let's catch up with Steve.
Hey guys, racing is fun. It's a great sport. And if you've got a road bike or if you want to get into it, I'm going to show you the sort of changes that these race bikes have compared to the road bikes that we see every day on the streets. First of all, you've got to start with the tyres. You get rid of those road tyres and put a set of racing slicks on. Exhaust pipes are open, so you can put a titanium pipe on, whatever pipe you want. That increases the performance a little bit. Fiberglass fairing, of course. If you have a fiberglass fairing, crash damage is cheaper, and also it's more aerodynamic. We get rid of the mirrors, we get rid of the blinkers as well. But probably the biggest thing that you need is one of these. This is a rider. This is Wayne Maxwell. Wayno, I've got to ask you, I mean, I know that you've ridden a few road bikes. What's it like to get on a road bike and a race bike? What are the differences?
Well, look, the Suzuki GSXR comes out with all the same functions, you know, 3-motor traction control system as a road bike, all the mod cons, you know, quick shifter and all the bits and pieces. So as a road bike, it's a pleasure to ride. But as we step up to a race bike, we've got all those, all that technology, but it's all a little bit more refined, which makes it easier to do a lap time and a little bit more adjustability, which, you know, with the development of the bike, you can move forward. But most of all, a little bit more power.
Yeah, and more power. Thanks, Wayne, for that. More power is something that I haven't talked about yet. Of course, Phil, you're the man. They call you Mr. Power. What sort of modifications can you do to these Superbike engines?
Well, actually, Steve, not a great deal from the standard GSXR 1000 you buy on the road, but we're allowed to increase the compression ratio via a thinner head gasket and machining of the cylinder head, which we do. So we get power from that, and then we tune it. We've got a Yoshimura EM Pro ECU in there, which is all fully tunable. That allows us to tune not only the engine in its fuel state, but we've got ignition timing plus running controls and traction controls, a whole lot of controls really that's all electronic and done through the EM Pro.
Well, there you have it. All you need is a rider like Wayne Maxwell, a guy like Phil, and a great base of a bike to start off with, and you too can win races. But remember this, what wins on Sunday also sells on Monday.
Great work, Steve. Back to the grid with our pole sitter, Crew Halliday. I know you were disappointed with second, but again, good news. You are the one sitting on pole position, and you're also in the lead of that championship too.
Yeah, you know, to be honest, I'm not really looking at the whole leading the championship at the moment. We've got another race, 20 lap stint ahead of me, and it's going to be definitely hard. And yeah, it's just, you know, I made a lot of mistakes in the first part of that race, and you know, I seemed to have the pace at the end. I passed Wayne, you know, they were a fair way in front of me, so I need to just try to stay with them, capitalise on, you know, being as smooth as I can, try to capitalise if they make any mistakes. But, you know, the pace is that fast, it's so easy to make a mistake. So, no, it's, yeah, I just need another mistake-free race and many points as I can, as you said, leading the championship. But that's at the back of my mind, you know, I would like to get a race win, but it's going to be hard with those two.
Go get him. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll keep walking down the grid, guys. Wayne, we will come back to you. Let's head on down to Mike Jones. He's on board the Desmo Sport Ducati this weekend, taking Troy Bayliss's position and doing a fantastic job at it, I might add. Feeling pretty confident on the Ducati this weekend?
Yeah, I have been feeling very confident. Obviously, that first race didn't pan out exactly the way I wanted it to. Sort of missed the start there a bit, and that sort of let the front guys get away, and I just couldn't close the gap down. So the goal for this race will be to get the start and then run with the front guys and be there for the finish.
Good luck.
Cheers, thank you.
And we'll move on down to Daniel Felson. Always very consistent, but just missing out in that last race. I like seeing you smile, Daniel, just missing out. Any changes ahead of this one?
Yeah, a few little changes we've made. Really racing with the guys in race one up nice and close, you kind of find out where your pitfalls and where you're actually quite strong are. So make some minor changes to the bike, and I think we can be really close up there again. We were somewhat there in that race, just lost a little bit towards the end, but I'm feeling confident, and that's the main thing.
Good luck.
Thanks, Emma.
Let's head on here with Josh Waters on board the Suzuki GSXR. Josh, obviously a few little hiccups this weekend. How did you feel with finishing in 6th?
I need to try and improve a little bit to go with these lead groups. So, yeah, I'm hurting a bit after getting off it at testing, but we'll keep working away, and hopefully the changes we've made to the bike are definitely going to be better, I hope.
Chin up for this one. Good luck.
Thanks.
Josh Waters, he's starting back in 6th position. Let's go catch up with this guy. Obviously, we've got a spot missing here. Aidan Wagner, shout out to you. Shoulder injury. He's not going to be racing for this one. And he has a shoulder reconstruction booked in, I believe, already for Monday. Hey, Matt Walters, starting from 8th. Fantastic work this weekend so far.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad. We had not a bad qualifying. We had to come through Q1 to get to Q2 and made it work, and we were pretty happy with it. So,
good luck.
Thank you.
And we'll head down to BC Performance Kawasaki and check in with these guys, because apparently I'm your good luck charm when I talk to you on the media grid. Hey, Brian, some setup issues this weekend, but we know that you do have the race pace, that's for sure.
Well, turned out I didn't exactly have the race pace.
Except for the first one, but in general.
But given that you're wishing me well and you're apparently the good luck charm, let's see that we can't make it happen this time. Yeah, no, look, the first race was okay for us. It was a result that's given us some points, but we'd really like to go a few better this time round.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, we'll just turn around and quickly check in with, Calvin. He's walking away from me. Let's grab Alex. Alex, how's it going on board the Suzuki GSXR?
Yeah, not too bad. So the first race went pretty well. If we can jump another row off the start, I feel we might be able to stay with the lead group for a little bit. Just need to make myself a bit more energy efficient and see how we go by the end.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Boys?
Yeah, thanks very much, Em. And yeah, a couple of good points there. At Daniel Falzon, it was clearly evident to us that the end of the race was where he did really struggle with the lap times. And also that when Emma spoke to Mad Mike Jones, he obviously has the pace, but it didn't make it last long enough, because on lap 3, he was just as fast as the rest of the riders, setting a lap time that was pretty close with the fastest lap. And a lot of the riders out there are actually using Pirelli tyres. Let's get an update from Pirelli and Dave Fuller.
Dave, just explain, for those who don't know, what tyres are they on? What's the reason for choosing those tyres? Conditions have been not too bad so far today.
These are the latest tyres from World Superbike, the same as the World Superbike guys have been using at Phillip Island and the last round at Buriram in Thailand. Fantastic product. They do all the testing on our behalf. We're just the lucky recipients of all their hard work, and they've been working absolutely fantastic here at Goulburn this weekend.
Thanks, Dave. Hey, guys, for this one, Wayne Maxwell is very, very hungry indeed. Here's my tip for the Kawasaki Superbike race number 2. Over to you. Phil Harlem, Steve Martin.
Thanks very much, Emma. And it is going to be an extremely exciting race. But the thing that sticks in my mind, Steve Martin, is that Tom Taparis has already gone 2 from 2. He is the local hero at Goulburn here. Can Troy Herfoss make it 2 from 2? Wayne Maxwell and Crew Halliday and Mike Jones, Daniel Falzon, Josh Waters are going to have to ride extremely hard to hold out what is going to be an extremely determined Troy Herfoss.
Well, Herfoss had a great run, didn't he? And we saw what he could do when he got in front. He managed to build that lead out to over 1.1 seconds. And he looked like he wasn't. It looked like he was having a Sunday afternoon ride.
Let's set a new lap record.
Yeah, while doing it, the Pirelli tyres were working brilliantly, as they said. But yeah, Daniel Falzon has made a couple of little changes to his setup to perhaps try and lengthen his tyre wear. Hopefully he can get a little bit more speed towards the end of the race. I know that Wayne Maxwell, I bumped into him. He was having some braking issues. And I also said to him, if you saw the highlights of race 1, he sort of like left the door open. So I said, mate, close the door on the last lap, will you? So let's see if he does that this time round.
Also disappointing that Aidan Wagner's shoulder injury has got the better of him. We saw him in absolute agony earlier on today. He had to pull out of race number 1 and unfortunately not out there on the grid. But another rider that does actually have a shoulder injury, he's kept it pretty much under his belt this weekend, is Josh Waters. As he mentioned on the grid there, he is hurting. He's got a serious shoulder injury after a big get-off here at the test, and has been doing a great job to ride around those injuries this weekend. But it's Crew Halliday, the man that starts from pole position. He's joined on the front row of the grid by Wayne Maxwell and the local hero, Troy Herfoss.
Mike Jones starts from 4th position on row 2 with Daniel Falzon in 5th position, and Josh Waters rounds out row 2.
Yeah, row 3 will be Aidan Wagner, unfortunately not taking up his position on the grid, but Matt Walters and Brian Starring on board their Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10RRs are both there on row 3.
Glenn Allerton starts from 10th position with Al Phillips, who we heard from on the grid. Look for him in the races. And Damon Reeves from New Zealand in 12th position.
Yeah, doing a great job this weekend, Damon, and was fast on a Supersport machine. No reason why he can't be fast on a Superbike as well. Glenn Scott, Mark Kyoto and Lachlan Eppes will start from row 5.
Ted Collins, of course, 16th. Sloane Frost from 17th and Arthur Cece's in 18th position.
Yeah, look for Arthur Cece's off the start. He's always incredibly fast. Brendan McIntyre, Phil Chai and William Davidson will start from row 7.
Mike Edwards, Hamish McMurray and Paul van der Heij from South Australia will round out the field.
So the riders are coming round now to take up their positions on the grid. Troy Herfoss has taken victory in the first race of the weekend. Crew Halliday, our poleman, was second and Wayne Maxwell was third. Crew Halliday leads the championship. Troy Herfoss has surged up the order and got a lot of points back that he lost out on at the first round of the championship. It is all to play for now. Who will be the Wizard of Wakefield Park this weekend? Well, 20 laps, 2.2 kilometres per lap. We'll find out. As the red flag leaves the grid, Steve Martin, Crew Halliday from pole position, Maxwell from second, and they blast off the line. Looks like a pretty good start from Daniel Falzon and Mad Mike Jones from the second row of the grid as well. But down the inside into turn 1, it is the governor of Goulburn, Troy Herfoss, that takes the lead as they run up the hill for the first time.
Mike Jones got a better start this time too. He's up in the 5th position. It's a gaggle of Yamahas up there. Wayne Maxwell's up there in about 4th position at the moment. But Troy Herfoss, this is dangerous for the boys. He's already leading this one.
Yeah, both the Kawasaki's, Matt Walters and Brian Starring, also got a pretty good start as well. And Mad Mike Jones has got a much better start than he did in race number 1. He was struggling to try and find his way through the field at this stage in the first race of the afternoon. Let's see what he can do with a better start in race 2.
Look at Matty Walters. He's up in 5th or 6th position at the moment. That's the best start of the year for him.
Yeah, he used to be a traditionally good starter, but hasn't been able to do it of late over the last couple of years. But look at Herfoss.
Oh,
he's looking determined from the start, and Falzon is also looking businesslike up into 3rd.
Starring in the background there had a big moment. There's Damon Rees from New Zealand on his Honda CBR 1002. Not a bad start from him, but he'll want to do better. Mike Jones, he was fast at the start of the race. If he can hang on to these guys, remember he's getting used to this Ducati lap by lap at the moment.
Well, we heard the update from Dave Fuller on all the Pirelli tyres. The only runner in that front group that is not actually on Pirelli tyres is Brian Starring.
And meanwhile, Crew Halliday sits in 2nd position as he heads up there behind the number 1 machine, Troy Herfoss. And Crew is right on the back at the moment, so he's doing a fantastic job at holding that position. Crew Halliday there. Somebody needs to strike quick on Troy Herfoss, or you know what, Phil? He could run away with this.
Yep, Herfoss leads. He did a 102.677 from a standing start, so absolutely flying off the standing start. What can he do on this first flying lap, Troy Herfoss? To me, it looks like in the first one he was quite calm and content to keep his powder dry and just sit there in the first couple of laps. This one he has pinned his ears back from the very start, and the Penrite Honda leads them across the line with Crew Halliday and Daniel Falzon right behind. Wayne Maxwell's now moved up into 3rd place as well. Looks like Maxwell, the Wayne train, is on a charge.
Yeah, 57.8 for Wayne from a standing start on his first flying laps. Pretty impressive stuff. So already well on the pace, and Wayne Maxwell making up a little bit of ground and closing that gap up to 3rd position.
In fact, he was the only rider in the 57s on that lap. Everyone else was in the 58s.
Yeah, I know. It was a very impressive lap. And Wayne's problem is not the pace at the start of the race, as we saw, but he was having some sort of braking issue towards the end of that race, which gave him some arm pumps. So let's hope that the team have been able to tweak the bike in the brake, and he can be strong towards the end, because he's definitely a potential race winner.
Well, and also, too, Wayne Maxwell, one of his big areas is his ability to brake late and deep on board that Team Suzuki X-Star machine. Hate to tell you, but you know who's arrived on the scene? Mad Mike Jones, and he is keen for some business.
Well, Mad Mike Jones, if you think back to the last race, race 3 at Phillip Island, he was out of control and in control, got the lap record in that race, and boy, he came close to winning it.
Yeah, he also did. He was on a privateer Kawasaki, a couple-of-year-old machine at that round. Of course, Troy Bayliss out injured here at Wakefield Park. The team have drafted in their former rider and former Australian champion, Mad Mike Jones. He's up into 4th place now. He just got the better run out of the corner and overtook Daniel Falzon on the run up the hill. So the Desmo Sport Ducati is also on a charge and trying to work his way up onto the podium.
I think Mad Mike Jones has ridden just about every Ducati there is. He's ridden this, he's ridden the 1199, he's ridden a couple of different MotoGP bikes as well. So Mad Mike, no stranger to the Ducati brand.
Yeah, and also had a great ride at the MotoGP race at the Australian Grand Prix in the end of last year as well. But it is currently bike number 1, this reigning Australian Superbike champion, Troy Herfoss, on board the Penrite Honda. Geez, he was late and deep into that final corner. He had to stop the bike in the middle of the corner. Who was carrying a lot more corner speed behind? It was Crew Halliday, our poleman, on board bike number 65. He classes this as one of his home rounds. He only lives an hour up the freeway, does Crew Halliday, and he is really keen for a big result here this weekend.
Well, Crew certainly likes to pile on that mid-corner speed. We saw him do it in race 1, and he's doing it here again.
Well, let's go down to the pits in a quick update from the man that usually rides the Desmo Sport Ducati, Troy Bayliss.
Yes, he has returned. Troy, great to have you back with us this weekend. Mike Jones, he's doing a great job out there.
Yeah, even in the first race, Mike had the speed. It just wasn't a great first opening laps for him. He's right there in the lead group now, and we're hoping that he'll finish it off and get on the podium.
Look forward to your return at the bend. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what's on Mike Jones's mind at the moment to get on the podium if he can. I mean, he's in there or thereabouts at the moment, matching the guys up front. Daniel Falzon on the back of that group, and we know that he'll be waiting to see what those tweaks do.
Fastest man on the last lap, Mad Mike Jones, 57.773 as they come round to complete the 5th lap of the race. The fastest man on track now is Troy Herfoss, the 57.718. They're only taking tenths or hundredths of a second off at the moment, Steve Martin, but they are getting faster and faster and faster as the pressure at the front of this field starts to increase, and they are all starting to step up the game. In fact, the top 5 all in the 57s. The next group, Josh Waters, Matt Walters, Brian Starring, Al Phillips and Glenn Allerton, all back in the 58s.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive ride by Al Phillips there, just back in 9th position. He's doing good as well. Glenn Allerton's moved himself up into the top 10 as well. He had a terrible run in race 1 earlier today, finishing 15th, but good to see Glenn Allerton in the top 10.
I think all the way back to 17th position, Ted Collins, the riders are lapping under the 60-second lap barrier as Maxwell has a big lunge up the inside of Crew Halliday. Had to pull out at the last minute, and I think his drive out onto the straight may have just been slightly compromised there as well. No, I don't think Mad Mike Jones got the drive that he wanted out of the final corner and wasn't able to draft the Team Suzuki X-Star machine down the straight.
Yeah, Maxwell's certainly looking for a way through. He doesn't want to be held up, or he wants to be with the man out front, Troy Herthos on the Honda at the moment. He's definitely looking for a way past Crew. But I'll tell you what, this is the Crew of old. This is the Crew of new, a more confident Crew, one that knows how to win.
And what was the statement he said before? A more mature Crew as well.
Well, I don't know about that, but on a motorcycle for sure.
57.631, fastest lap of the race on the last lap from Troy Herfoss. All of them in that lead group were literally separated by 1/10 of a second as they came across the line to complete 6 laps of the 20-lap journey. The real question is going to be, who has life left in those Pirelli tyres at the end of the race? And has Brian Starring got any life left in his Dunlop, which was traditionally fast at the end of the race on board the Kawasaki BC Performance machine? He's sitting back in 8th place at the moment.
Well, I'm sorry for Brian, but he ain't going to catch that gap up. These boys out front have just gone. They have been so close to lap record pace. That's very close. It's just on 57.583, which is very close to the lap record.
That is 6/100ths off the lap record for Troy Herfoss on the last lap. 57.583, 57.683 for Crew Halliday, 57.803 for Wayne Maxwell, and a 57.683 for Mike Jones. That's his fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Troy Herfoss is just riding brilliantly out front at the moment. He is stretching the other riders in this field, showing them exactly what he can do. He's not scared of showing them any secrets. He's saying, come and get me if you can.
Well, that's the big thing, is because previously we've seen how strong he is on the brakes. He's able to seemingly overtake at places that are impossible for mere mortals. But this round, Troy Herfoss is out in front and he is pinning the ears back, and he is going as fast as he can at the moment and seeing who can go with him, and who at the moment that he's able to go with him. Crew Halliday is trying to stay with him. Wayne Maxwell at the moment looks to have just lost a little bit on that last lap. Having a look at the lap times, yes, it was 1/10 of a second that Troy Herfoss was faster than Maxwell.
There's Mike Jones, back end of his bike just wiggling around a little bit, but still looking pretty composed. I'm sure he's trying to find a way past, but there's one thing about this Wakefield circuit track, it's definitely not easy to pass on, Phil.
No, it's one thing to catch them, it's another thing to try and find your way past, as Mad Mike Jones tries to put himself in a position now to have a look down the inside of Wayne Maxwell at the bottom of the hill. That's one of Troy Herfoss's favourite overtaking opportunities, and the top 5 are starting to spread out just a fraction, and then there is a bit of a gap back from Daniel Falzon to Josh Waters, who's having a very lonely ride at the moment. He's got a 3-second gap over the field behind, and he's also got a fair way to Daniel Falzon in front. Down to Emma in the pits.
Just standing on the pit wall, watching on with Dale Breed. And Dale, I tell you what, Troy and Crew, they're going to be very hard to catch, aren't they, for Wayno?
Yeah, the boys in front obviously done a really good job. And the lap time's really, really close. So, if someone makes a mistake, and he'll be right there. So we're not giving up yet. It's a long race, and we just want to work into it.
Thanks, Dale. Good luck.
Yeah, and it's right, exactly what Dale Breed said there. Like Wayne Maxwell, he's He's no spring chicken. He knows how to play these games. He knows he's got to look after the bike, and he's riding very smoothly at the moment. No point overstressing anything. He had some braking issues in the race earlier on today, so the last thing he wants to do is stress everything out. So towards the end, we're still only halfway through this race, Phil. At the end of this race, he has a similar sort of issue. He wants to try and do everything he can to stay in that third position, stay as smooth as he can. But I'll tell you one thing, that Troy Herfoss, I think that run of his is coming to a little bit of an end. Crew Halliday is looking strong again.
Fastest man on the last lap, actually setting his fastest lap on the last lap of the race was Wayne Maxwell. But as they came across the line on that lap, the fastest man on track is Crew Halliday with a 57.542. That is even closer to the existing lap record of a 57.525 set by Troy Herfoss earlier on. Herfoss has also just set his fastest lap of the race. So the pressure is getting bigger and bigger at the front of this race.
And there is Glenn Allerton on the number 14 BMW out there on the Maxima BMW, and Alex Phillips as well. Kawasaki, there's Glenn Scott. Good job for him out there. He's having a great battle royale with those guys on track at the moment. Glenn Scott is riding better on that Kawasaki than I've ever seen. Yeah, he's up into 9th position now with Al Phillips right behind him, and Glenn Allerton once again having a difficult ride on board the Next Gen Motorsports BMW S1000 RR. You can see Al Phillips there with his little style where he takes his foot off the outside peg at the bottom of the hill there. But look who's right behind them. The man that's no surprise to us to see him going so well here this weekend. And remember, he is only in the infancy of his Superbike career. That is Damon Rees, the former New Zealand Supersport champion and serious challenger for Supersport race victories here on board a Honda. Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of people this year that have stepped up in all of the classes, and Damon Rees is one of the guys now that has made that step, and he's able to grab onto the back of some of our top riders and learn from them. He's going to be learning a lot in this race. But Crew Halliday, he needs to learn where he can pass the man in front, number 1, Troy Herfoss, because Herfoss is definitely laying down the lap times at the moment. Yeah, that's not a lesson you're going to learn in 5 seconds either, because Herfoss is the master around Wakefield Park. Let's go down to the pits and an update from Emma.
Speaking of Herfoss, I'm just checking in with Honda. Sean, he is looking very, very quick indeed. I know how much he wants this round win.
Definitely after our first round, or disaster, I guess you call it, we need to come back real strong and really hit back at the championship. And it's looking quite good at the minute. It looks like Crew's got the pace. Still, 7 laps to go, so we'll see what happens.
Thanks, Sean. Good luck.
Well, 7 laps to go, and the man that is on a charge is Mad Mike Jones on board bike number 46. The Desmo Sport Ducati has just gone past the Team X-Star Suzuki to move up into 3rd place, and watch Mike Jones's lap times over the next couple of minutes. We were speaking to him last night. He had that look in his eye, Steve Martin, that he was ready for a big result this weekend. He still is without a secure ride for 2019. He wants to put on a good performance here and update the resume. Yeah, absolutely. He needs to do that as well. Looks like the number 47, Wayne Maxwell, struggling there. Mike up the inside. Maxwell once again just having to brake that little bit earlier. Something is just holding him back in the heavy braking area, unfortunately for him. But he's looks like it's Daniel Falzon having to go up the inside now. Falzon doesn't quite make it, but Maxwell in a whole world of pain at the moment. He's just seems to not be able to hang on to the guys in front, Phil. Well, look how much Mad Mike Jones has pulled out on that last lap. And just having a look at the lap times, the top 3 are still all in the 57s, but Maxwell and Falzon and Josh Waters have all dropped back into the 58s as well. You can see Maxwell's bike starting to move around as he gets on the gas up the hill, probably getting on the gas hard, trying to make up for that little bit of deficiency that he appears to have on the brakes, and Falzon is closing in all the time. Well, at the front, it is Troy Herfoss still pushing on at 57 sub-lap times. That looks like a Kawasaki that has gone down. Not sure who that is at the moment. That looks like it could be Matt Walters actually on board bike number 12 as the riders are coming around. We've got a red flag stoppage. Just having a look at the last lap. It was definitely a Kawasaki that had gone down. Just trying to see what the livery on that machine was as we come around. Yeah, I'm not too sure. We didn't get to see the number, but 13 laps in, Steve Martin. It'll be interesting to see what the officials decide here as this red flag stoppage comes out to stop play just a fraction early. Yeah, I think it's going to be a declared race. I think that they've probably done enough to declare it. So we'll just have to wait and see. Good to see Race Safe within seconds on the scene to look after that fallen rider. And yes, red flag situation here at Wakefield Park at the moment. Yep, race has been declared with full points awarded. Be interesting to see what positions they were as they came across the line. It was, because depending on what lap it was Mad Mike Jones in second place. I think it was. So it looks like the top three will be Troy Herfoss, Crew Halliday and Mike Jones. Wayne Maxwell will finish in fourth place. And I guess that Wayne won't be happy with the result, but he will be happy that he's got two strong finishes and he will move on to the Ben Motorsport Park where there are 3 races once again with 2 race finishes under his belt.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in a way, although he was a lot more competitive last time out at Phillip Island, I think that this weekend he's managed to get 2 race finishes. He stayed out of trouble and he's moved himself up in the championship. So I think it's a excellent weekend for Wayne Maxwell, and also for Troy Herfoss, who had to get the double win here because he had an absolute shocker. What was he, 8th at Phillip Island? So Troy Herfoss with a double win here, just an incredible ride. Crew Halliday.
That looks like it could have been Lockie Eppes that crashed on board the bike number 22, the second of the BC Performance Kawasaki's, because he has gone backwards down the timing sheet on the CompuTime timing monitor here.
Yeah. Okay.
So it looks like it wasn't. Here we go. We'll see a replay now of the back end of that incident, as it looks like he was coming down the hill. Yep, that's definitely one of the BC Performance Kawasaki's, bike number 22.
Yeah,
you can see it there.
That's Lachlan Eppes.
And looks like Lockie Eppes has come in contact with terra firma at one of the trickiest corners from your track preview, Steve Martin, the bottom of the hill.
Yep.
That is the YMI corner.
Yeah, it's so easy as you head down that hill. You can lose the front, you can high side, you can crash any which way you like. And that's the thing with this Wakefield Park track. It's a very, very tricky circuit. And unfortunately for Lockie Eppes, he's whether it was the front or rear that he lost, he did taste terra firma, like you say, Phil. So not a nice way to end the day for him. But yeah, unfortunate for him.
Well, just waiting for confirmation of the results, but I don't think there's any doubt that the man that will take the round win and a double race victory once again at Wakefield Park, the wizard of Wakefield Park, in fact, Troy Herfoss on board his machine bike number 1. Crew Halliday will take second place for the round with a brace of second places. And Mad Mike Jones up on the podium in third place for the first time this weekend on board that Desmo Sport Ducati. Wayne Maxwell will take fourth. Daniel Falzon finishes in fifth. Josh Waters in sixth place, the injured Josh Waters. Matt Walters will take seventh position, a great result from him and the leading privateer. Then Brian Starring, Glenn Scott and Al Phillis round out the top 10.
Yeah, what a top 10 it was too. And then, of course, in 11th position, Glenn Allerton just missed out on the top 10. Damon Rees in 12th position. Mark Kyoto, we didn't see much of him this weekend, unfortunately, in 13th. 14th was Arthur Cece. Sloane Frost got a point from New Zealand, which was good. Ted Collins has had a weekend that he'd rather forget, having a crash early on and having to ride injured. Brendan McIntyre, Phil Chai on the Aprilia, and Lachlan Eppes didn't finish the race.
Well, let's have a look at the highlights of what was an extremely exciting Kawasaki Superbike race number 2. Crew Halliday started from pole position, but it was the man on the inside of the front row of the grid, Troy Herfoss, that made his intentions quite clear from the very first corner. They went through turn 1, and then by the time they got to turn 2, Troy Herfoss had already hit the lead and started to pull away at the front.
Yeah, and what an incredible race it was. Mike Jones was working his way up through the field, and you can see there just up the inside of the number 25, Daniel Falzon. He wanted that podium, and he was trying as hard as he could. Number 47, Wayne Maxwell, was trying to get past Crew Halliday early on while everything was okay. But it wasn't to be that way for long, because Mike Jones ended up striking, putting himself in a third position at a crucial time in the race.
Well, Mike Jones showed early on in the race he had the pace in race number 1. This time he got a great start. Unfortunately, the race came to a premature end after 13 laps had been completed when Lachlan Eppes lost control of his Kawasaki BC Performance machine at the bottom of the hill coming into YMI corner and caused a red flag stoppage, which meant that the race was declared after 13 laps completed of the 20-lap journey. And there is a man that has got a huge smile on his face. It is Troy Herfoss. We'll come back. We'll hear from our top 3 after this short break.
Thank you for watching. Welcome back to Wakefield Park in Goulburn, New South Wales. We have just had a cracking race, the second and the final race of the weekend for the Kawasaki Superbike. And I'm down here on the podium with our top three, starting with our third position, Mike Jones. Fantastic work on the Desmo Sport Ducati this weekend. I know Troy Bayliss is very happy indeed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, I'm very happy with this third position. Coming into the team to replace Troy has been a massive task and certainly a lot of pressure to perform this weekend. We did have a fifth position in the first race, and that was ultimately down to a poor start. I rectified that for this second race, and we got away really well there, and was able to go away with the front guys, and fortunately come away with third position.
Well done. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you very much.
And in second position, Crew Halliday, welcome back to the podium. Some much needed points for your championship. I know you were a little bit disappointed with second last time. Give me a smile, come on.
Nah, that was, you know what, I didn't make any mistakes in that race, and I rode 100%. So, you know, hats off to Troy. He was pushing the pace, and you know, I was just waiting for him to make a mistake, but he just didn't make any mistakes, and you know, either did I. So that was pretty hard. You know, I think we're in the points lead now for the championship, and I'm not sure. You might have to check with him. You might have just got that there.
You are.
I am. So yeah, it's cool, and no, it's good. It's great for the team. You know, working great with the team, and. You know, as I said before, I'm working good with Kev Marshall, getting close with him, and yeah, the bike's working unreal. Now I can ride it how my riding style, and yeah, it's good. So I'm not angry with second. It's good. It's just I'm just ecstatic that I rode 100% and really happy with that.
Well done. See you at the bend.
Thank you.
And in first position, our winner for race number 2 for Kawasaki Superbikes, and our round winner, he is still the king of Wakefield Park, Troy Herfoss. Congratulations. Great to see that big smile on your face.
It's so good. I was just so happy with that race. I hope that the riders are okay. It's disappointing to have a red flag like that. But as far as the race went, it was perfect. Whole shot, and I was hitting my target every lap, and I could see that Crew was there, but he wasn't quite there to pass me. And so I feel like I had a good control on the race. And although you know Crew's going to fight for it till the end, so who knows what would have happened. But I'm just so happy for the team to take 2 wins and claw the points gap back to, I think, only 5 points from the lead now. And looking forward to Tail and Bend.
Enjoy the after party tonight and the champagne. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to Troy Herfoss. Congratulations to all the guys down there in the Penrite Honda team. They have had a fantastic weekend. Crew Halliday has also had a fantastic weekend. He leads the championship on 96 points. 5 points ahead of Troy Herfoss on 91, who has leapfrogged up into second place. And Mad Mike Jones, after 2 strong rounds, now sits third place in the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Josh Waters is in 4th. Wayne Maxwell, his teammate, 5 points behind in 5th position after a DNF at race 1. Brian Starring on 75 is tied with Maxwell. Aidan Wagner's dropped back to 7th place now and may even be out for another round or so. Daniel Fowles in 8th. Matt Walters in 9th, and Glenn Allerton tied with Matt Walters, rounds out the top 10. There's our top 3 for the second race, doing a great job. Wayne Maxwell actually finished 3rd place for the round, Steve Martin. So despite some difficult times for the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia rider this weekend, he has done a great job to finish in 3rd place overall for the round behind Troy and Crew Halliday.
Yeah, Wayne's time will come for sure. I mean, he's had a couple of meetings. He could have won outright at Phillip Island round 1. Wasn't to be. Had that coming together with the man himself, and unfortunately it was meant to be.
Well, getting ready now for the third and final race for the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, the FIM Oceania supported event. And Cross Francis will start from pole position with Carter Thompson and Glenn Nelson. Carter Thompson so far, Steve Martin, 2 from 2.
Yeah, what a weekend he's had so far. It's been absolutely incredible. He's been out front, but he hasn't had it his own way, has he? It's been absolutely incredible. Row 4, Jacob Hatch, Reece Outward from Victoria, of course, Archie McDonald, Zach Patendi from Queensland is in there as well, Cormac Buchanan, Jolly Cross, 26 riders across the whole field.
Yeah, doing a great job, the riders, this weekend. There have been a couple of crashes, but everyone has learnt a whole lot this weekend. And the good thing is, this class for 11 to 15-year-olds, guys, boys and girls, all out there doing a great job and having their first outing in 2019 for the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. And of course, on the line, not only race wins, but also the opportunity to go international at the end of this race. Ready for the final race of the weekend for the Blue Crew. It is a great start from bike number 42, Cross Francis, who started from pole position, and also Glenn Nelson looked like he got a great start on board bike number 39 as well. But as they charge down towards turn 1 for the first time, it is Carter Thompson on board bike number 21 that takes the lead.
Yeah, Carter Thompson, he knows how to win on these R15s. They've only ever had 2 races before. Let's remember, this is a brand new class into the Australian Superbike Championship, and in fact an initiative from Motorcycling Australia, FIM and Dorna to help put it all together. And Carter Thompson has won 2 out of 2 so far, and he's put himself in the perfect position amongst these 11 to 15-year-olds out on track to do such a good job, and he's in the right place to do it all again.
Yeah, Cross Francis set the fastest lap of the race in race 2 earlier on today, but had to play second fiddle to Carter Thompson, as Thompson took the win by 0.069 of a second as they come down to the bottom of the hill on the first lap. This race is a commentator's nightmare, Steve Martin, because everybody looks pretty much the same. They're all in Recondi leathers. They're all on Yamaha R15s. They've all got AGV helmets, and that is because of all of the partners that have got behind this great initiative from FIM Oceania and Motorcycling Australia.
And they're all riding their hearts out and having a lot of fun. And I tell you what, this is the future of the sport. This is where the fast guys are going to come from. In a few years, those names, Francis, Thompson, Nelson, Ralston, Grenfell, all of those names is where you're going to see your next champions coming from.
Well, the other thing is, though, too, that there has been criticism in the past for many, many years that Australians aren't given the opportunity to get on the road and go road racing at a young age like they are overseas. All of that has been rectified over the last couple of years, and now this great initiative has seen young riders get out there and be able to go road racing. And we could be seeing Carter Thompson heading off into the distance, but the man that's not going to let him have it all his own way is, of course, Cross Francis, the man that qualified on pole position. They've opened up a little bit of a gap over the riders behind. I think that's Glenn Nelson, along with Jacob Ralston and Angus Grenfell, that are in that group behind.
Yeah, absolutely. They're pretty good opening lap speed for them too, 23.4. That's not a bad lap speed for these little R15s around these tracks. Not overall that much slower than our superbikes in all reality, as far as the lap time go. I mean, these guys are doing like speeds that normal track day guys would do on bigger bikes.
But also, too, the relative inexperience of the riders, the very tender year of some of these riders. The youngest rider's only 11 years of age. They are on, well, hardly modified commuter bikes, but they do have the advantage of those Pirelli slicks, which this weekend seem to be offering some great grip and also good longevity for the riders as well.
This program also, Phil, it's not just a matter of come along, guys, grab a bike and away you go. It's put together properly by Motorcycling Australia, the FIM and Dorna, like we mentioned before. As we look at this scintillating action, there's coaches involved. Damien Cudlin is coaching. You know, there's all sorts of different people that teach them all aspects. They were even had a lesson the other day for the parents on how to use the lap boards. So, you know, it's come and learn everything about road racing.
Well, Jacob Ralston has moved bike number 74 up into 3rd position, and he is leading that group of 3 riders behind. But the fastest man on track was actually Angus Grenfell at the back of that 3-rider group that is battling it out for 3rd, 4th and 5th position. Grenfell on bike number 36 doing a good job, and a 117.104 is about half a second off the fastest lap set this morning.
Yeah, Jacob Ralston's doing a good job, as is Angus Grenfell, as you mentioned. They're just starting to close that gap down to the 2 guys out front, Carter Thompson and Cross Francis. Cross Francis there on the number 42 machine, chops across the front into the final Yamaha Revja hard out corner. Big slips. Oh, we've got one off into the grass there. Oh, and he's fallen down.
Yeah, that looked like he just ran wide on the final corner. Not the first person to fall victim of that corner this weekend. And that looked like one of the riders out of that second group. It was bike number 39, Glenn Nelson, who has had some pretty good results this weekend. And unfortunately, an early end for bike number 39 and Glenn Nelson in his first round of the championship.
Yep. Can certainly take a few lessons away from that. But meanwhile, back out front, it's Carter Thompson, Cross Francis, Angus Grenfell and Jacob Ralston. And that gap has certainly come down now. Jacob Ralston is right on the back wheels of the 2 men who have led early on.
Yeah, we've really got a 4-bike battle for the lead group now as they work their way down towards the bottom of the hill and YMI corner. Then we've got a decent gap back from our 4th place rider, Jacob Ralston, to Tom Drain, riding bike number 59, who's currently sitting in 5th position. The top 10 rounded out by Marianus Nicholas, Max Gibbons, Jay Russo, Cormac Buchanan and Reece Orchard on board bike number 12. Of course, his dad, Dean Orchard, quite a handy motorcycle racer himself.
Absolutely. He's raced in all sorts of different classes, owns a motorcycle shop down in Melbourne as well. So young Reece Orchard has been around motorcycles his whole life, and now he's living the dream. He's getting to be able to ride these bikes as well.
Well, bike number 39 there, still sitting on the outside of the circuit, but yellow flag being waved there at turn 12, so that's taken out one of the overtaking opportunities, giving the riders an opportunity to obey the yellow flag.
Of course, it's Carter Thompson from Queensland, who's won race 1 and 2 so far this weekend, who still leads the way out front. Got a dirt background as well, dirt tracking background, so he's certainly not afraid of rubbing elbows.
I think he's also one of the youngest riders out there. He's only 11 years of age.
He's the youngest in the field.
The youngest in the field, doing a great job at the moment, is Carter Thompson. But I'll tell you what, the other thing that's amazed me, Steve Martin, looking at the riders, and we mentioned it before in the race earlier on this morning, is the height difference between some of these guys. There is literally 2 foot between the shortest guy and the tallest guy.
There certainly is, and I mean, that's the difference between an 11-year-old and a 15-year-old. But one thing's for sure, Phil, they're not scared to bank fairings on these little Yamaha R15s.
No, they're doing a great job of it at the moment, but keep your eye on Jacob Ralston. He's moved himself up into 2nd position. This has been a great charge forward from bike number 74, and he set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:16.509. To see how that compares to the race fastest lap this morning, that's only literally hundredths of a second off the fastest lap set this morning in race number 2.
Yeah, great job by Ralston there as they head down the start-finish straight again. Brilliant job for him, and I mean, he's really done a good job because he didn't feature in the top 10. He was finished 10th actually in race 1. So to be up in this position, he certainly found something sitting at the table for lunch today.
Well, fastest lap of the race, a 1:16.509 for Ralston as he tries to find his way past. He's just been over. Oh, you can see the front end bouncing there. Looked like a pogo stick as he made his way up through the top of KTM and into Suzuki Corner. But it is still Carter Thompson that leads on board bike number 21. Cross Francis has managed to shoehorn himself back up into 2nd position on board bike number 42.
Look at Ralston.
But here comes Ralston down the inside. He's going to make a lunge for the lead. Is he? No, not quite. You can see he was going for it. He saw the lead there and thought, I'm on the inside, I've got the run, but then had to pull out of it the last minute. His drive may have been compromised, and Cross Francis comes back. He's got the inside run through the next corner, has he? No, it's Ralston that's got the great run through the AGV corner, and he's now well positioned to try and dive up the inside as they come down into the final corner, Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner.
And this is the final lap as they head on to the start-finish straight. It looks like it's Carter Thompson who's going to make it 3 from 3, but there is a big slipstream effect here. Ralston's in 2nd at the moment, and Cross Francis is in 3rd, and it looks like it is going to be Carter Thompson making it 3 from 3, Phil, as he crosses the line.
And Ralston from outside the top 10 into 2nd position and up onto the podium in the final race of the weekend. Cross Francis will take out 3rd position. Look at this bike battle coming through now, Steve Martin, as they all stream across the line.
Well, what a magnificent way to start this championship off in style here at Wakefield Park with the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. It couldn't have been more successful, Phil, especially for Carter Thompson, who won 3 out of 3. Brilliant results for him.
Yeah, congratulations to Carter Thompson. 3 from 3 is a great way to start off your Blue Crew Oceania Cup championship for 2019. But also, too, looking back there, Tom Drain had a fantastic weekend. Marianus Nicholas showed a lot of speed on board bike number 46. Max Gibbons finished in 7th position in that race and had some good results as well. And also Cormac Buchanan. Jacob Hatch is one of the tallest and heaviest riders out there, finished inside the top 10 again after having to, he got caught up in an incident yesterday and crashed out of the first race. Jay Russo rounded out the top 10 on board bike number 32. But I think after this first round, there'll be a lot of people going away with an extremely big smile on their face after the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a great result for all of those guys. Joe Russo in the top 10 as well. 26 competitors. I think they've learned a lot this weekend, Phil. You know, like...
not just them. I think their parents have learned a lot too.
And not only that, they've got to do that in front of a fantastic crowd, you know. I mean, like... you know, most of the places that these young guys get to race, they don't get to have the opportunity to race in front of a crowd. But, you know, as we said, they've learned a lot this weekend. They've been able to join our professional championship. But right now,
let's head down to Eminota Francesco.
Thank you very much, guys, to our entire team, to all of you at home for watching. What a sensational weekend of racing it has been. Congratulations to those local boys, Troy Herfoss for Superbikes and Tom Taparis for Supersport. Make sure you head to the Bend. We cannot wait for this one. It is round 3 from the 26th to the 28th of April. Check out all the MA events, ma.org.au. And of course, in the meantime, make sure you stay up to date at asbk.com.au. Thanks again for watching. Cannot wait to see you at round 3. Cross Francis finishing in 3rd position. What a fantastic weekend for you and some great racing. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it was very good racing this weekend. I'm happy to be on the podium every single race. Didn't quite get that win, but we'll try it next time at Broadford. So happy to be on the podium. So yeah, very good.
Great weekend, well done. And I know Jacob has to run off, but Carter Thompson, Jacob, you are here. Congratulations on 2nd position. Fantastic racing. Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank all Yamaha and Rakondi and all the people who made this happen. And yeah, it was good to get it on the podium finally.
Great work. And in 1st position, congratulations, Carter. What a fantastic weekend for you and some great racing, lots of fantastic battles. Well done.
Yeah, it was great. The competition was great. I'd like to thank Yamaha, all the sponsors, all the other sponsors behind the scenes, and Damien Cudlam from MonoStars for helping all of us during this meeting.
Was there anyone in the field that you wanted to beat in particular this weekend? Because you did a great job.
No, not really.
Lots of rivals.
Yeah.
All right, great work, Carter. We're just going to take a quick break here from Wakefield Park. Plenty after this. Stay with us.
Our business is making dreams come true. Since 2002, we've realised over 130,000 Yamaha dreams and financed more than 200,000 motorcycle and boating passions. We've helped turn the smallest dreams and the largest dreams into reality. Are you ready to make your dream a reality?
We have been working on making motor racing more exciting. We removed the outer shell of the car. People are going to love it.
Yeah, I like it.
We removed 2 of the wheels.
Seriously, guys? I love it. What else?
We crank up the speed, 300 Ks. There'll be heaps more overtaking.
That's motorcycle racing.
International Motorfest. Get your tickets at thebend.com.au.
We are the innovators, the specialists, the ones who power the wheels of progress. Extraordinary innovation for on-road and off-road terrain. Estacore technology for improved engine protection and performance. We are going a step beyond to a new generation of motor oils. This is the vision of innovation. The new 300V squared.
In the production meeting at the start of the year, the team wanted to mix things up a little bit. So I came up with an idea. I said, why don't you give me the track for half an hour, an R1, and I can take the viewers for their own personal ride around the Wakefield Park track. So I want you to come with me now on board and see what this track is all about. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of action to be had. So here we go as we head around the final turn onto the main straight for the first time. Get a hard on the gas out of there, tucking behind the screen, up through the gears, 4th, 5th gear, heading into the kick in the main straight. Boy, it's pretty tricky through there. Down a couple gears, hard on the brakes as we head into Kawasaki corner. It's a pretty tricky entry, a little bit off camber there. Make sure you clip that apex, but once again, keep that mid-corner speed up. Hard on the gas again, 2nd, 3rd gear as you head up into KTM. Bit of a flip front, really bumpy through here. Got to be careful you don't lose the front end there. We've seen that happen before. Up through Suzuki, it's a long, long right-hander now, and it just dips off as you head downhill. Make sure you get the apex again. Edge of the tyre all the way through, clicking through the gearbox. Short shifting there up to 3rd gear. Down the hill you go into what I think is the trickiest corner on the track. The tight left-hander, YMA corner. It feels so slow through here, but I'll tell you what, you get on that throttle too early, and it could be all over. Keep on going left around here. Keep the mid-corner speed up as you head onto the back straight through AGV. I'll tell you what though, not much of a straight here at Wakefield Park because you've got to get hard on the brakes as you head into that final corner. YMI, Yamaha revs your hard out corner. And there you go, once again, through the on the gas, down you go onto that main straight. Tuck in over the thing and you can see the finish line up ahead. You get towards the finish line. There goes the checkered flag. And that, my friends, is a lap of Wakefield Park. An incredible place, and boy, we're going to have some spectacular racing up ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Steve Martin. What a great lap of Wakefield Park. It certainly is an extremely tight and tricky circuit.
Demanding, I think you'd say too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pretty demanding. And the good news is that the final race on today's program is for bikes that are perfectly suited to Wakefield Park. It's a small, tight and tricky track, and they're small, nimble motorcycles. The Yamaha R3 Cup is
and tight
the last
and tricky pilots too.
Yes, some of them are very tricky. Well, so far this weekend, it's been Max Stouffer taking the win in both races, but he's had his work cut out for him. He's got a combined victory margin, Braxy, of 0.1 of a second over 2 races. And that has been an extremely tight run affair in both of those races, with Hunter Ford and Johnny Littress joining him on the podium in race number 2 and doing the same thing in race number 1, although they swapped positions around.
And also, when just in relation to that, Max Stouffer was looking like he was getting a clean sweep in the Yamaha Motor Insurance Supersport 300 category, but Johnny Littress put it all together. So the question's got to be saying, that's his 2nd win of the year. He's won 1 at Phillip Island, 1 here. What can happen this afternoon in this final race? When you look at the front row of the grid, Phil, with Maxie Stouffer, Benny Baker and John Littress 1, 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's going to be an extremely interesting race because there's so many pilots that you can't discount. The man that's first back on the grid, Harry Curry, on board bike number 43. Can't discount him. Lockie Taylor on board bike number 151. He's been there or thereabouts in the mix the entire weekend. And, of course, the two most experienced riders at the front of the field, bike number 20, Hunter Ford, on the podium twice so far this weekend, and also Zach Levy on the Puma RV's YRD machine on bike number 87. He is always going to be a front runner and a threat, especially over the last couple of laps.
Yeah, well, he said to me yesterday afternoon when we were talking about how he's had a bit of a tumultuous start to the year with changing teams and getting back on the old bike and everything. And he said, that's a warm-up lap about to start. And I said, he's comparing it's an old bike and compared to these new ones that are finely tuned within an inch of their lives. And he said, me and Lockie have got a secret. And I said, what's that, Zach? And he said, I'll show you at the next round. So he's got something up his sleeve for Taylor Ben and Zach Levy.
Well, they are releasing a brand new R3 very, very shortly. But Max Stouffer, Ben Baker and Johnny Littress will start from the older model from the front row of the grid.
Then it's Lockie Taylor, Zach Levy, who we were just talking about, and Hunter Ford on the second row of the grid.
Then on the third row it is Harry Curry, Brandon Demery, another front runner and more experienced campaigner in this class as well.
Travis Hall there. Rounding out 304 is Kyle O'Connor. Tristan Adamson, I think he might be a DNF after his crash in the early race. Luke Johnson.
Yeah, it looked like his bike was pretty badly damaged. Row 5 is Xylus Bunting, Reece Orchard and also Mitch Kuhn.
And then row 6, we've got Bronson Pickett, Jake Ralston and Cameron Agostini. Jake Ralston, who just finished second in that GP at the Blue Crew, Oceania Junior Cup. Then we've got Keegan Pickering, Jeremy Schmock, John Blenken. Then it's Ryan Smith, Ryan Moscadini and Lachlan O'Brien. And rounding out the 9 rows
is Christian Agostini, Hunter Diplock and Sam Hopner. Noticed a few riders doing double duty in this class as well as the Blue Crew. Reece Orchard, one of those riders as well, also doing the Oceania Junior Cup.
And Sarah Fairbrother, who's been around for a few years, another one that came through the junior ranks, rounding out the field.
Well, get ready for the final race on today's program from here at Wakefield Park. Mark Brax, round 2 of the championship has provided some close racing. That's not going to stop with one more race on the program. The Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup. It is one of the highlights of the weekend. These bikes are so closely matched. And as we said, Max Stouffer's combined winning margin of both races is about 1/10 of a second.
And there is 15 more races after this event to look forward to over the 5 rounds.
He starts from the front row of the grid on board bike number 27 as the red flag leaves the front of the grid. On that front row, Benny Baker and Johnny Littress. Last race of the program today. Stouffer from pole position. Great start from Johnny Littress on board bike number 308. Wouldn't be surprised to see him trying to scythe up the inside as they come down into turn 1. He's up into second place, but Max Stouffer leads them through turn 2 on the run up the hill.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the lines they try and attain heading down that short straight in through turn 1 into turn 2. And you're not meant to say that he's got a couple of bike length lead, because you know within a lap or two that the rest of the pack are going to be hot on their heels. Again, Hunter Ford not getting the best of starts either. He'll be dropping back, but then again, you've got to consider that his weight disadvantage and stature disadvantage, the fact of getting the bike off the line. What are they, about 170 horsepower? 170 kilograms.
Well, and Hunter Ford is probably the heaviest rider in the field. He'd have to weigh 70 kilos.
At least, yeah, at least. Well, he's over 6 foot tall, 1.8 in the old school, 1.9 in the old school.
And when you're battling against guys like Maxi Stouffer, that'd be 45 ringing wet. Down on the inside now, it is Johnny Littress on board bike number 308. The former dirt tracker and rider that racked up his multiple Australian championships just last year.
All those 3 riders at the front are multiple Australian dirt track champions. Benny Baker's won about 15 of them. Maxi Stouffer only won a couple before he decided to hang the boots up.
He retired.
At the ripe old age of 10.
And also Benny Baker, who's a rider that's got a fair amount of international experience for a rider of such tender years as well.
Yeah, well, he went over there last year, qualified for the Asia Talent Cup, but was one of those years that just went from bad to worse for him, unfortunately. He was carrying injury. It wasn't even injuries. He was getting sick over there as well in the old Asian flu, the Bangkok belly. As now Johnny Littress, he led the previous, well, the YMI Supersport 300 race before Maxi Stouffer swamped him on the last couple of corners. And Johnny Littress, you know, you're just seeing this kid. I know I've seen him in a few times doing the GP Juniors coming through there, and him and Maxi Stouffer in the last couple of years have over each other at every outing. And all Lockie Taylor starting to get in the back there. And also Travis Hall starting to make some moves on that red and white liveried bike number 31.
Well, Travis Hall, another rider that's got so much international experience, but not the international experience of the other riders. He's been riding in the Underbone Championship, which is possibly one of the most outrageous classes that you see anywhere in the world, with those hotted up scooters. And Johnny Littress down the inside of Max Stouffer. These three, to be fair, have been a real class act this weekend. Benny Baker probably hasn't got the results on the board that his pace that he's shown would truly represent.
But he's got the racer stance. Look at the body language of Benny Baker on bike number 72.
Oh, he's full GP.
He is, and he wants to be full GP in a couple of years. I've got another kid over there that we shouldn't mention that was racing with these two. Billy Van Aert, who's gone over there for the Red Bull Rookies Cup this year as well.
And also Luke Power, who was a star in this class at the first round of the championship as well.
He's doing the Asia Talent Cup. So, mate, there is a good, handy diary full of names that we should keep in mind.
That AGV corner they just came through, I love watching Johnny Littress through there, the way he seems to take that corner. He's almost got his whole shin bone on the ground as he comes through that corner. Out onto the straight now. Look who's joined the party. It is one of the most experienced riders, or two of the most experienced riders in this field, Lockie Taylor and also Hunter Ford. Hunter Ford on bike number 20 goes up the inside of Lockie Taylor to move up into 4th place now. And the fastest man on track on the last lap, Braxy, Hunter Ford.
And Max Stouffer regains the lead, albeit it'll only be meant momentarily, as someone's going to give him a bit of a short back and sides. Now, the surprise out of this, pardon me, where's Zach Levy?
Actually, I think we might even have a new lap record for the class with that lap from Hunter Ford at 105.886. That's just a fraction off the 105.706 he did
yesterday.
Yeah, and he did in race 2 this morning as well.
So he's broken his own lap record within 24 hours, twice within about 12 hours of each other.
So Stouffer leads Littress, Baker, Hunter Ford, and then it's bike number 151, Lockie Taylor. Then we've got a couple of bike lengths back to Harry Coorey.
Did you see the front end of Zach Levy's bike bouncing around like a pogo stick?
Tell me any bike that wasn't bouncing up and down like a pogo stick. They're all giving it everything they can into that last corner. And Brax, that last corner you've ridden here, it is so bumpy. It is almost like going over the whoops in a motocross track.
And not only bumpy, but it goes off camber as you're tipping in through the apexes too, as you're trying to get the power down, and you feel like the bike wants to fall off the side of the track.
Well, we saw the late braking in the Kawasaki Superbike class there from Troy Herfoss, and it was just... It's one of those corners
and
that
Mike
can catch...
Jones.
Oh, and Mike Jones, but it's one of those corners that can catch you out so quickly, and especially with the limited modifications that are allowed to these bikes. There's nowhere near the adjustability on a Yamaha R3 as what there is on the Yamaha YZF R1M in the Superbike class.
And you can see that with Travis Hall on bike number 31, the same way he's bouncing out to the ripple strip and trying to keep getting the direction of it. But look at this battle for the lead for them. Maxi Stouffer, John Litch. Well, there's John Littress back in front now from Max Stouffer, Benny Baker, Hunter Ford there. The tallest man, he's one of the tallest men in the paddock, let alone in the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup.
Well, as they come around onto the straight now, they'll be coming round to complete 5 laps as the lead group unleashed 321 cc's of fire-breathing fury onto the Motul Pirelli straight. It is Johnny Littress that takes... a couple of bike lengths advantage down the straight there, and Hunter Ford looking like he's doing a really good job of sitting in the slipstream, considering the weight and aerodynamic penalty that he has to pay every lap.
I think his old man Terry's got to pay a fine to Hunter, because they forgot on the start of the first race yesterday, Rob Scott, the chief scrutineer, noticed that there was no lock wire on the front brake caliper.
Oh, he's run wide, Hunter Ford. He's hit the bump and he's run extremely wide. He's out onto the dirt.
I like the way he nonchalantly has a look around when he's got a tyre wall coming up in him about 100 kilometres an hour.
Just leans it over a fraction more on the grass and gets back on track, but he's lost a lot of track position. We've now got a 3-bike battle in the lead group. There you go. Johnny Littress through that corner. How good is that to watch?
He loves that corner, just keeps it pinned the whole way through. So with that little excursion from Hunter Ford, it's dropped Lockie Taylor off being a threat in these closing couple of laps. But it hasn't lost the intensity of the usual mob of suspects at the front that we've seen all weekend. Max Stouffer, Johnny Littress and Ben Baker in no particular order. Because they are in no particular order.
On the previous lap, who was the fastest man on track? Max Stouffer, a 105.6. That was the fastest lap of the race as well. On the lap that they've just completed, he'd Sorry, a 105.6. He's back to a 106.4. I think the intensity of this battle means that the lap times aren't quite as fast as what they were on the last lane, where he had a little bit of clean air.
And I like the way he's going through turn 1 and 2. He has a nice little glance over a long glance over his shoulder, as if to say, what are you guys playing at?
Well, the other thing is, you have a look at these three riders. Max Stouffer is by far less physical than the other two, Johnny Littress and also the full GP style of Benny Baker. And as they get towards the end of the race, Max seems to always just have that little bit in reserve to pull out. I think that's because he hasn't ridden as physically demandingly as what the other riders have over those first couple of laps.
And I asked Max Stouffer in Park, as Benny Baker asked Max Stouffer in Park Fermo yesterday after he won his first race about how much influence his old man has in his riding style and everything. And he said he's taught me everything he knows and he's never going to stop. I'll never stop learning off that man. And just the admiration, it's like mates together. As they come down now, this will be their last lap.
Oh, Stouffer around the outside, goes down into turn 2. Oh, look at the bike drifting, two-wheel drifting as they make their way up the hill. But if you listen to Jamie, he goes, he doesn't listen to anything I tell him. Oh, Littress back into the lead at the top of the hill. This is the final lap, Braxy. There is only, less than 2.2 kilometres to go, and it is all on now. Can Johnny Littress take his second win of the weekend? Can Max Stouffer take his fifth? And I'll tell you what, there is a rider on bike.
It's going to take his first.
I was going to say, there's a rider on bike number 72 that is keen to scratch up his first one.
Oh, into the official corner, and he moves from first to first, and back to third again.
Stouffer got caught, hung out to dry there essentially at the bottom of the hill. He made the big lunge on the brakes, but
Here it is.
just had nowhere to go. Down into the final corner now. It is Littress that leads. Stouffer goes up the inside. He can't quite get through, but can he get the run back and get the slipstream to the line as they get onto the power and come out onto the start-finish straight for the final race of the weekend for the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup. It is Littress that leads. I think Littress may have done enough. Takes his third win of the season in 2019. He'll be happy with that one. Maxi Stouffer will take the round win for the first round of the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup, and Benny Baker on the podium once again.
But that last few hundred metres showed the maturity of those kids, where Maxi Stouffer, you wouldn't have blamed him for going for the win, diving up the inside. He's gone, hang on, he's probably already worked it out in his head that he's won the round. He's got a decent points haul this weekend to consolidate his lead in the championship.
Oh, is that right on the line? Who was that?
That would have been was Bronson Pickett and Jacob Ralston.
That was an extremely close run affair as those riders both came to the line.
I think that was Keegan Pickering actually looking at the leathers.
Both coming to the line trying to sort out those final positions. Keegan Pickering battling for 17th position with Bronson Pickett. As we will hear from our top three, Johnny Littress, Max Stouffer and Benny Baker extremely shortly. But fastest man on track in that race was Max Stouffer. Fastest lap, a 105.6. And there was literally nothing in between the top guys as they came across the line. There was, in fact, 0.130 of a second. And then it was a couple of seconds back to Lockie Taylor in 4th position. Harry Curry ended up finishing in 5th position. Zach Levy in 6th. Travis Hall in 7th place. Hunter Ford in 8th. Brandon Demery in 9th, and Kyle O'Connell rounded out the top 10. Hunter Ford, after that off-track excursion to finish in 8th place, was a good result, considering that it could have very nearly ended in disaster. But congratulations to Johnny Littress, Max Stouffer and Ben Baker. They will be on the podium very shortly. Luke Johnson finished in 11th position from Mitch Kuhn, Xylus Bunting in 13th, Reece Orchard in 14th, Jacob Ralston in 15th, Bronson Pickett, then Keegan Pickering, Cameron Agostini, Ryan Moscardini and Jeremy Smock. Reece Orchard, third class that he's been racing in this weekend. As we have a look at the highlights now of the third and final race for the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup. And it was our pole sitter, Max Stouffer, that took the lead down in towards turn 1. Johnny Littress on board bike number 308 was there in the first couple of corners, and he took the lead not too long after as the top three really started to get away. Wasn't long though, and Hunter Ford joined the party, and then he also ran off the track and made life a lot easier for the top three, as they only had to battle with the other three young fellas and not one of the most experienced riders in the class. As they came down to the final laps, Max Stouffer laid his cards on the table. Johnny Littress also showed that he was keen for a race win. And the final corner was where it was all sorted out. Stouffer had a bit of a look down the inside, couldn't quite do it, but Ben Baker was also showing that he was keen for the good positions as well. Here's Hunter Ford's incident where he got to the top of the circuit after making a charge forward and ran off the circuit out onto the grass, had to turn the bike, casual look over the shoulder. He eventually recovered to finish in 8th position. As they started the final lap, The group of three had really broken away. Ben Baker was trying to find a way past, but couldn't quite seem to do it. Littress and Stouffer were battling for the lead. Max Stouffer led them up the hill for the final time on board bike number 27. You can see there the bike moving around. Baker had a look over the shoulder. There was no one behind. Littress had a big lunge up the inside as well on board bike number 308. He won the final race of the Supersport 300 class earlier on this morning and was trying to make it 2 from 2 in the final races of the day in his two classes. As they came around through the final corner, Max Stouffer wasn't close enough to have a lunge on the brakes, tucked into the slipstream. All three of them weaved their way to the checkered flag like a conga line, but it was Littress that took the win on 308 from Max Stouffer and 72. As we head down to the podium now to hear from our top three.
Well, thanks, and we're back with our top three place getters from the final leg of the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup. Benny Baker in third position. Man, I thought you were going to make a big dive bomb there. You were lining it up and thought maybe not.
Yeah, I was going to give it a crack, but then kind of got stuffed over a bit yesterday. Got a bit of a jump start penalty in race 2, I think. Race 1. So I couldn't get the round, so I just settled for third. And yeah, thanks to all the boys for the competition, everyone who helps out to run the events. Just like to thank Mum, Dad, Jekyll and Hyde, UTEC, SCK Excavations, Fight 108, Mark Weaver and Brizza, and Annie Shannon and everyone else. Thanks.
Now, just one question. I know you like to be overseas, but it must be pretty good to be back in with the competition that you got.
Yeah, it's always good racing with Johnny and Maxie. I've raced with them since I was about 7, back in dirt track on the 65s and 50s. And yeah, it's good to be back with him. Thanks.
All right, see you at Tail and Ben, Benny Baker. As we move on to second position, and well, I don't think he was too disappointed, but Max, we were thinking in the commentary that you might have tried that move up the inside in the last corner, but I think you're thinking more about points. You're showing a remarkable turn of maturity.
Yeah, well, I was going to try and dive bomb him, but John done really well to cover the inside and pointed it straight to the apex, and he done really well, so I wasn't able to sneak up the inside, but well done to Johnny. Ben rode good too. Can't thank the boys enough for the good riding.
But 4 wins, you must be pretty happy with that. A couple of pole positions, which are vital championship points in this cutthroat championships.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Got a lot of points in this round. This round. Can't thank my sponsors enough, like Pirelli, Yamaha, YRD, Shark Leathers, KYT and Xiaomi, Rock Oil. They all help amazing. It's amazing.
It's great to watch, Max. You know, you should be pretty proud of what you've been doing.
Thank you.
No worries, Max Stouffer in second and a round win and taking out his third win of the year, the second of the weekend. You had a mechanical DNF this morning, but you bounced out really well, Johnny Littress. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a mechanical in the 300 race, not the R3, which was good. But so that was a good race. Thanks to all the good competition. It was really fun. And I'd just like to thank all the people who made my day happen. ASBK, Jekyll and Hyde, Kabuchi Yamaha, AGV, TCX, Pirelli, and Australian Civil Solutions.
So what do you do now to prepare for Tail and Ben?
Pretty much just stay focused and try, yeah. That's pretty much what I'm going to try and do.
All right, mate, John Littress, you're one of the shining lights of Australian road racing. Well done. Top three there with Benny Baker in third, Maxie Stouffer second, and Johnny Littress taking his second win of the weekend. Back to you in the studio, Phil.
Yeah, thanks very much, Braxy. The MA calendar events, there's plenty coming up too over the next couple of weeks. The FIM Oceania Speedway Sidecar Championship at Gilman Speedway at the end of March. The Pirelli Australian MX Nationals Round 2 also at the end of March at Wonthaggi in Victoria. And the Australia Junior Road Racing Championship Round 2, 5th to the 7th of April at Broadford in Victoria. Along with the FIM Speedway Sidecar 1000cc World Cup, the 5th and 6th of April at Gilman Speedway. The Yamaha Australia Off-Road Championship rounds 3 and 4, 6th to the 7th of April at Dungog in New South Wales. The Pirelli Australian MX Nationals round 3, 13th to 14th of April at Broadford in Victoria as well. Broadford Bike Bonanza, best way to spend the Easter weekend at the Broadford Complex in Victoria, the 19th to the 21st of April. The Australian Junior Track Championships, the 20th to the 21st of April. And the Australian Speedway Sidecar Championship, the 20th to the 21st of April from Pioneers Park Speedway in Queensland. Well, been a great weekend here. Let's go down and get some final thoughts from Emma and Steve Martin in pit lane.
Thank you very much, Phil Harlem. Fantastic job up there. Same with Mark Brax. Thank you to him, and thank you to this guy, Steve Martin. Whew, it's been a long day. That was huge.
It's been long, but it's been hectic, and it's been very entertaining, I might add, Emma.
So Troy Herfoss still the king of Wakefield?
Absolutely. He might not have got pole position, but he certainly got those 2 race wins and proved that lap after lap he can be the fastest, even under the immense pressure that he got from Crew Halliday, Wayne Maxwell and the likes. I mean, everybody threw it at him, but he came out on top.
Well, the championship is very tight. Let's see how he does at our next round, a very different track. We head to the Bend in April, the 26th to the 28th. We hope to see you there. Steve, thank you very much for today. Fantastic racing this weekend. Just in the meantime, make sure you stay up to date with everything ASBK at asbk.com.au. Thanks for watching. See you at the Bend.